left after threatening to return a second time with a gun. And Moran did exactly that, shooting his father through a garage window that evening, according to evidence presented in the case. Moran wound up being arrested in Michigan, found with the same gun he used to shoot his father. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The man known as the truck stop serial killer was convicted in a Marion County courtroom on Wednesday for the 2007 murder of a woman from Indianapolis. During the trial, Marion County Deputy Prosecutor Curtis Naismith told the jury that Bruce Mendenhall had evaded capture for far too long.
This case has taken some time to get to trial. There's been different nuances along the way.
Police think Mendenhall is linked to other homicides across the U.S. He'll be sentenced February 13th. The Indiana Pacers take on the San Antonio Spurs today in Paris, France. Indiana looking for another win. They've won 8 of their last 10 games. They face the Spurs again on Saturday as well. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Bear.
Yeah, Kurt, inbound 65 slow from MLK down to 21st Street. We have eastbound 465 on the northeast side, a little bit slow from Allisonville Road to I-69. East 71st Street shut down between Benford and Shadeland for bridge demolition. That's a closure going down for 1 week. Traffic sponsored by True Green. True Green. Get a golf course quality lawn for less than you think. Don't wait. Sign up at truegreen.com for 75% off your first service and let the pros handle the work while you enjoy the results. True Green. TRUgreen.com. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Attention Indiana residents in need of care at home. If you have Medicaid and need assistance with daily activities, you can receive in-home care from a loved one that lives with you and they get paid. Through Medicaid with no cost to you, Freedom Care, a leading in-home provider, gives you the power to choose who provides your care and they get paid instantly. Imagine your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need and your caregiver gets paid instantly. Freedom Care has over 5,000 5-star Google reviews and is a leading choice in Indiana for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's free to you through Medicaid, go to freedomcare.com or call 463-232-7324. 463-232-7324. That's 463-232-7324.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Thursday morning looks to be cold with mainly cloudy skies and a few snow showers around, which could limit visibility at times in your morning commute. High temperature only in the upper 20s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Mary Sutis for 93 WIBC.
A clear radar for now, 26 and cloudy downtown. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Well, good morning. It is Thursday, January 23rd, 6 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. So get this. Congressional Republicans, they're examining those people that were pardoned by President Biden in the final hours. Includes individuals like Dr. Fauci and also General Mark Milley. Speaker Mike Johnson says that Congress is going to investigate Joe Biden's pardons of those people and also his family members.
And they'll do what about it? Because didn't we already have that House Oversight Committee that investigated the Bidens forever and ever and ever, amen? This is the thing that makes me just loathe the Republicans. They had 2 years to do something about it. They spent how many millions of dollars investigating the Bidens, Hunter, the brother, the whole little crime syndicate. They did absolutely nothing. And now what? Biden pardoned them, and now they're going to investigate them again? What are you going to get that you didn't already get? And now, unlike before, what good is it going to do?
Yeah, they're already gone.
How many times did they talk to Fauci? How many times did they have him on Capitol Hill? What new evidence are you going to get? This is what Republicans do. Instead of actually governing, instead of actually doing hard work that makes people's lives better, they use these things that they deliberately do nothing about for campaign and fundraising purposes, and then they tell you, oh, just reelect us or give us a bigger majority and we'll get to the bottom of it. This is what they always do.
Okay, so Chip Roy from Texas. He suggested calling pardoned individuals before Congress so that they could, quote, demand the truth and test the constitutional validity of the pardons. So not only do they want to investigate the pardons, now they're questioning if we should have these pardons at all.
Look, you had 2 years. You did nothing. You did nothing deliberately. Everybody knew what Hunter Biden was. You had irrefutable evidence laid at your feet. You took no action. You had irrefutable evidence that Joe Biden was literally running a crime syndicate in terms of an office for sale scheme when he was the vice president. Had countless batches of evidence against the son, against the brother, against Biden himself. Nothing was done, and it was done deliberately because they wanted it as a campaign issue. They wanted it as an issue to raise money off of. I am so sick, Casey. I am so sick of these Republicans huffing and puffing and promising. It's the same thing they're going to do on inflation. It's the same thing they're going to do on spending. It's the same thing they're going to do on just about everything other than things Trump can probably do through executive order because they don't want the issue solved.
Of course, Mike Johnson has announced that Congress is going to investigate Joe Biden's pardons of his family members. However, these specific details still a little unclear.
It was shocking. I mean, it was shocking what President Biden did on the way out, pardoning his family for more than a decade of whatever activity, any nonviolent offenses. It was breathtaking to us. I don't think that's anything like that's ever been anticipated. And by the way, go look at the tape. 4 years ago, when it was just implied that President Trump might do something similar, they were apoplectic. Joe Biden himself, Adam Schiff, Chuck Schumer. Roll the tape. They all said that would be crazy and unconscionable, and now they're cheering it along. To us, it is disgusting. To us, it probably proves the point, the suspicion that, they call it the Biden crime family. If they weren't the crime family, why do they need pardons, right? Look, there's a lot of attention that's going to be paid to this, and I think that is appropriate, and we will be looking at it as well. So, yeah.
So some people are questioning now if the preemptive pardon is constitutional. Now, when they investigate these pardons, are they going to determine that?
I don't even, but what, I'm going to sound like Hillary, but what difference does it make at this point? You had 2 years with all the investigative authority, the ability to do anything you wanted in terms of acting on these people, criminal referrals, etc., and you didn't do anything. What difference does it make whether Biden preemptively pardoned them or not? You had 2 years to look into it, and you didn't apparently find anything, or you did find something, and you didn't want it to come out because you wanted to use it during the campaign. Either way, you had your shot. And don't give me this bull about, we're so shocked that Joe Biden pardoned his family. That'd be like if you had unleashed Jeffrey Dahmer out of prison back onto the streets of Milwaukee and go, someone ended up getting eaten. We are flabbergasted that this happened. No, you're not. That's who he's always been. There's not a single solitary person. They were literally talking about this in the lead up to Biden's final days. Will he pardon Fauci? Will he pardon Milley? Will he pardon the January 6th committee?
Oh, he did it.
He'd already pardoned his son. Why would anybody think that he would not pardon his brothers or sister or no, these Republicans, man, they've been there a week. They've been back a week, and they're already back on it. This victim, me so shocked mentality when they have the ability to solve the problem. See, the Republicans, to use a Seinfeld line here, they're great at identifying the problem. They're just not great at providing solutions to the problem.
A lot of people still cheering on the idea, though, that something could happen to Fauci.
What? He's been pardoned. What would happen to Fauci? And if something was going to happen to Fauci, why didn't it happen in the 2 years that they had every opportunity to do something to Fauci? What are we going to learn now that he's been pardoned that you didn't already know? This is why I tell people.
You learn something now, it's too late to do anything.
Well, this is why I tell people, when you're doing this happy dance over Republicans having the House and the Senate and the presidency, and you think like price of eggs are going to get better, or you think that all these things are going to be more affordable, why? We're already hearing about how the Republicans are talking about lining up with the Democrats on some mass spending bill in order to raise the debt ceiling. We're already talking about how they're talking about teaming up there because they're going to bypass the Freedom Caucus people. And everybody will go, well, we didn't see that one coming. Yes, you did. It's been the same thing since the late 90s with these Republicans, where they tell you one thing
and then they do the exact opposite, and a bunch of dopes in this country are stupid enough to keep falling for it.
Okay, so President Trump, he issued a warning to Joe Biden. You know, he sat down with Sean Hannity and did his first Oval Office interview since becoming president. And he hinted that Joe Biden should have pardoned himself before leaving office, noting, yeah, that's an omission.
This guy went around giving everybody pardons. And you know, the funny thing, maybe the sad thing, is he didn't give himself a pardon. And if you look at it, it all had to do with him.
Well, okay, but you're the same guy who said we're going to lock Hillary Clinton up.
Correct.
So why would he fear you?
Right.
Last time I checked, Hillary Clinton is still roaming around a free person. In fact, I saw her at your inauguration.
Right. She was sitting right there, wasn't she? Smirking.
Also, the president, as Trump should know better than anyone, has now been granted vast freedom and liberty from actions taken as president of the United States. Joe, nothing's going to happen to Joe Biden. Nothing's going to happen to any of these people because the Republicans are sayers, they're not doers.
So another thing that Donald Trump said, he was lamenting on his enemies. I mean, it's hard to tell because he goes scorched earth, but then he doesn't do anything about it, right? Just like you pointed out with Hillary Clinton.
Well, and you know, we came back to this. The Carter, what was this, the 9th Carter funeral? I don't know which number this was, but the one where all the presidents got together. And you see Trump yucking it up with Obama. And I don't, other than the most ardent Trump diehard would look at that and go, that's a little concerning given the very strong accusations that you have made against Obama. Many of them have actually probably been proven correct, about how this guy and his minions have tried to destroy your life, and then you guys are just old-timey palskis there at the Carter funeral. It's also very concerning when you see the years and years and years of Trump saying things about the Zuckerberg, the Bezos people.
And they were there.
And then they're primo cetos at your inauguration while the people who actually supported you and did all the things to get you elected aren't even able to get in the building. I mean, look, you can hate me for, because anytime I say something remotely critical of Trump, somebody's going to scream at me on the YouTube chat. But does that seem right to you? That if someone tried to destroy your life, it's one thing to be professional and shake someone's hand and sit there and whatever. I'm not saying you scream at each other, but they're sitting next to each other having, couple of good time Charlies at the Carter funeral, and then all of these horrific things that you said Zuckerberg did to screw you out of the last election, which again, most of them proven correct, and then you give him a front row seat at your inauguration. I mean, come on, wouldn't most reasonable people go, something seems a little off about that?
Well, here is Donald Trump talking with Sean Hannity about everything that he went through in the past couple of years.
I went through 4 years of hell by this scum that we had to deal with. I went through 4 years of hell. I spent millions of dollars in legal fees, and I won. But I did it the hard way. It's really hard to say that they shouldn't have to go through it also. It is very hard to say that.
But then why are you friending up with these people? You can't on one hand say these people deserve to go through hell and then be yucking it up with them at the Carter funeral and then giving them front row seats to your inauguration. These two things cannot be the same. They cannot both be happening. This is what is maddening about Trump. This is what is maddening. And this is what bit him in the ass the last time, Casey, is he kept trying to cut deals with his enemies. He kept trying to cut deals and get along with the Democrats his first term. And what did it get him? It tells me that I don't know if he's learned anything from the last time, because on what planet? Let's throw the Obama stuff aside. Let's say that was some 4D chess, psyop, something, whatever the Trump orbit people will say, that he's playing a game you can't even fathom. Why would you give Mark Zuckerberg a front row seat to your inauguration? You have been adamant for 4 years, and rightfully so, that this guy used his platform to manipulate information that people could consume that cost you the election, which then put you on trial for your life at various locations across the country, and you reward that? You put him front and center. Jeff Bezos ran the Washington Post, owns the Washington Post, which has done day after day almost obsessive level of work to try to destroy you and take you out. You reward that with a front row seat at your inauguration?
Well, I wonder if that isn't a way that Trump makes them come to heel. I mean, he did invite Xi Jinping, right, to the inauguration as just kind of like proof, like, hey, I'm in charge now. Listen up to me. And is this a case of keep your friends close and your enemies closer?
No, this is what he's done his entire life. This is what, again, you can either just say everything that happened before doesn't matter, or you can say, wow, everything that happened before is a trend. Let's take a break. We got to take a break because let's talk about the history with Trump, because this is very important about Trump's business history and why he still thinks it's going to apply to the government, and it does not work.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hear the news.
President Trump makes border security a priority. Mass deportations.
Nearly 460 arrests.
Democrats planning to resist in sanctuary cities.
Another update is just minutes away.
Really cold temperatures return tonight.
Cold front's going to bring another shot of pretty cold air. Single digits once again above zero.
On the level. On the go.
Shot multiple times.
Suspect could be at large if he was in the front of the house and ran out the back. Could be in this immediate area, right?
93 WIBC Mobile News.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text CARE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text CARE to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text CARE to 200-300. That's CARE to 200-300. CARE to 200-300.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed mold, mildew, bowing walls, or water in your basement? I hope not, but if you have, your basement is losing the war against groundwater. That's where Indiana Foundation Service comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to waterproof your basement and stabilize your walls. Schedule your free inspection at indianafoundation.com/row.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Why not start 2025 with a great new deal from Tom Roush Lincoln? Select 2024 Lincoln Navigators, now $12,000 off, and get 0% for 72 months. How about an all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus, now $6,000 off with rates starting at 4.9% for 60 months. So start the new year with a new car from Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Lincoln Navigator MSRP 104,825. Lincoln Nautilus MSRP 61,695. Offers good through January 31st, 2025. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
Coming home to a cold house in the dead of winter isn't just inconvenient, it's expensive. For over 60 years, thousands of Hoosiers have trusted B&W to catch their problems early and keep their families warm and safe. Call 317-214-0108 or go to bplusw.com for fast, reliable service today.
That's 317-214-0108. B&W, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
It's a new year. It's time to get your home Zero-Resified. Call Zero-Res and take 24% off all services for this month. Book online anytime at ZeroResIndy.com.
B is offering 1 bath remodel for as low as $99 a month, or get 2 bath remodels for as low as $249 a month. Call now to schedule that free in-home design consultation.
Now deep in the heart of
Okay, Casey, we got to settle a question before we can come to the big answer.
Okay.
All right. Was the first Trump presidency, was it successful?
Well, yes and no.
Okay, you're the voice of reason.
That's a difficult one to answer.
See, okay, this is my point, right? I asked you a question.
Yeah.
You're always the most honest, direct, kindest person.
Parts yes, parts no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, I think we've entered a phase where, and it's natural, right? Like you're back together with your long lost love, right? It's like a Harry met Sally. It's 4 years in between, and everybody wants to like romanticize what happened in the 4 years of the Trump presidency. And there were some things that were fine. The border was much more secure. Was it everything Trump promised? No, not even close. But was it much better than Biden? Absolutely. Foreign policy, much better. No dispute about that.
I do believe that wages were at an all-time high as well.
Well, yes, there were parts of this country that were going very, very well. But if we're going to talk about the good, we're talking about the whole Trump presidency, which is the growth of government, the spending. I'm not even talking about COVID. COVID's it's a whole other thing. Trump was doing all of these things in the lead up to this. I mean, all of these things factor in, right? So because people go, well, if you think Trump hasn't learned from the last time, well, you're sorely mistaken. The reality is Trump did a lot of things that bit him in the backside in his first presidency. The biggest amongst them was he kept trying to cut deals and play ball with people who hated him. And the reason he did that was because in business, there's a mutual interest, right? There's this shared idea of, look, I want to get as much for my side as I can, and you want to get as much for your side as you can.
And the number's the number.
And there's always a deal to be made, right? So he comes into government and goes, well, these people don't like me, but I've dealt with lots of business people who don't like me, and there's always a deal to be made. No, the deal with the Democrats is the destruction of you. The deal with the Democrats is the destruction of the country. They hate the country. You're not operating in a shared interest. It's like you're doing 2 separate business deals, right? And so when I see these things of people like Mark Zuckerberg being put front and center at his inauguration, when I see people like Jeff Bezos being put front and center at his inauguration, when I see him chumming up with Obama at the Carter funeral, I look at this and say, I saw this the last time, and I saw how this didn't work because unlike business, there's not a mutual agreement. And you can just say, well, Rob, everything the last time was just accidental and it'll all be different this time. Or you can say, we saw this thing play out before and it didn't play out well.
Well, do you think that maybe last time he was a little bit timid and afraid to embrace his authority as president? He was new. He was an outsider. He didn't know how the game was played. They completely attacked him on every level, and he learned from that. And this time, he's ready to be empowered with the position. And by putting those people front and center, he's saying, I'm the boss. I'm in charge now, and I want you to have a front row seat at seeing that.
That's fine, but you can't tell me for 4 years I'm supposed to hate this guy or these guys, Obama, Zuckerberg. You don't tell me for 4 years these guys are the devil. They did me in. They screwed this country. The bigger thing he was saying is they screwed you being us. Yeah. Trump was telling us for 4 years, these people screwed you. They took the country away from you. That's what he said. Obama, Zuckerberg, they took the country away from you. That's fine. I don't dispute that. Those guys were major players in what happened in 2020. No doubt about that whatsoever. But you don't get to say that for 4 years and then go, it's all fine. We're all buddies now. That's kind of an insult to these people who you ginned up for 4 years, and now you're just palskies with them.
Well, I don't know if
it's kind of insulting to me.
I don't know if he's palskies with him or if he's in the position now where he is going to use them.
What's he going to use Obama for?
Well,
what's he going to use Zuckerberg for?
His money.
Money for what? Trump can't run for anything again. Trump has nothing to run for now. What is it? What? And if it is indeed his money, What is that saying to the people of this country that I told you for 4 years, this guy stole the republic from you, but hey, he's got some cash, so I'm willing to play ball with him? Isn't that really insulting to the people you've told this to for all these years? And then this guy, you put him front and center at your inauguration?
Well, if he uses his money directed towards helping the American people.
This is why I don't get in love with politicians anymore, because, I mean, I don't dispute Zuckerberg deliberately manipulated information. He's admitted it. I mean, Kev, you're the Rogan guy, right? Didn't he go on Rogan and basically say he did this, but he tried to say Biden made him do it?
Yeah, he said he was receiving pressure from the FBI, I think.
So he admits that he manipulated information on his platform to sway the election. Now, he won't word it like that, but that's exactly what he did. Trump calls him out for 4 years on this, and then it's all bygones are bygones.
I don't know. Based on his inaugural speech, which sounded much more like a State of the Union address, his inaugural speech, having them all sit there, and then all of the executive actions that he took within the first 48 hours.
Okay, and I know we got to get to a break, but this is my point. You weren't here on Monday, but we closed the show with this, and I said, look, everybody should be happy that Trump's in there because that's much better than the alternative. But if you're not willing over the next 4 years to call crap out when it happens, then you are part of the problem. You can't think it's better that Trump's in there than Harris. You can't be happy that you have a fighting chance. But if you're team sport and you're not willing to call it the most obvious of the bull crap,
you can't just cheerlead, is what
you're
you're saying.
part of the problem. And it is bull crap that Trump said for 4 years all this stuff about Zuckerberg and then puts him and Bezos, who he also said all the same stuff about Bezos, and then he puts him front and center. If you are not willing to hold these people accountable, which is why the Republicans, hang on just a second, Kurt, and we'll get to you. I know we're running along. But this is why the Republicans do the thing that they always do, because they know no matter what they do, you will bend the knee to team sport because of fear of the other side. If you're not willing to hold our side accountable, they will keep screwing you over.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Finally getting some control. It's cloudy and 27 downtown. Some light snow to the east on radar, rather to the west on radar, I should say. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Firefighters say that they are finally getting an upper hand on the Hughes fire in the mountains north of Los Angeles. The wildfire started yesterday near the town of Castaic and spread over 10,000 acres, putting more than 30,000 people under evacuation orders. President Trump is sending a lot more U.S. troops to the southern border.
The number of active duty forces deploying to the southern border could grow to as many as 10,000. They might not be engaging in law enforcement, but they will engage in enforcing the southern border. The U.S. military will be flying transport flights to deport illegal immigrants, and one Marine officer told our own Jennifer Griffin his forces will deploy with full combat load. The 1,500 soldiers and Marines deploying to the southern border represents a 60% increase from those already there.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. The Best Picture field at this year's Oscars has a very musical feel. Nominees include Wicked, Amelia Perez, and A Complete Unknown. Also up for Best Picture are Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, and Dune Part 2. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. We are mixed to start the day. The Dow is up 34 points to 44,387. The NASDAQ is falling 118 to 21,883. And the S&P 500 is down 7.5 to 6,113. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
You know that Andy Moore Ford is the place to go for your car, for your truck, for your SUV, or your electric vehicle. And now you know that Andy Moore Ford is the only place to go for your commercial and fleet vehicles as well. Business owners, listen to me. You've got a fleet, right? You got the work trucks, you got the work vans. I don't know the configuration you need, but Andy Moore Ford knows how to make it happen. At Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield, they have got the biggest Super Duty inventory in the whole state. Over 100 Super Duty trucks are on the ground and ready for you and your business. And you could save thousands on medium and heavy duty commercial trucks because Andy always gives you more. Andy Moore gives you more. It's funny, but it's also true. With an expert team and a fast turnaround, they know how to keep your business moving. Talk to Andy Moore Ford today. Medium to heavy duty F-Series trucks, they've got you covered. Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield, 2713 East Main Street in Plainfield, or online at Andy Moore Ford, M-O-H-R. I love Andy. AndyMooreFord.com.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Up top, bike shop.
Yeah. It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messelthorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Are you ready for your custom dream bath by B? Our acrylic tub and shower remodels are a low-maintenance custom solution for your home. Grouted tile can lead to water penetration, but our etched tile options offer both beauty and longevity without the maintenance. And to celebrate being an employee-owned company, B is offering 1 bath remodel for as low as $99 a month, or get 2 bath remodels for as low as $249 a month. Call now to schedule that free in-home design consultation.
These cold winter nights mean more than just frosty windows. They can also spell trouble for your roof. Freezing temperatures, ice, and snow can lead to leaks that cause costly water damage if left unchecked. Moss Roofing is here to help. Tony Katz here, and Moss Roofing are the only ones to trust. A family business based right here in central Indiana. Whether it's a free inspection, patching a pesky leak, or a full roof replacement, their expert team has your winter roofing needs covered. Plus, they offer numerous financing options to make it easy on your wallet. Don't wait for that drip to turn into a disaster. Call Moss Roofing today for a roof done right every single time. Talk to Moss Roofing today. 317-747-3665. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-747-3665. Moss Roofing, 747-3665, or find them online at Moss Roofing, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com.
B is offering 1 bath remodel for as low as $99 a month, or get 2 bath remodels for as low as $249 a month. Call now to schedule that free in-home design consultation.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
We got to talk about what's going on in football because the ratings are bad.
Yeah, do you want to talk about NFL or college? Let's start with NFL really quick. Despite having some compelling divisional round games, ratings have decreased from last season, and currently NFL playoff ratings are at a 4-year low.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So it kind of, by the way, it's Kendall and Casey Show. I'm Rob, Kate, and that's Casey. Hey, we're number 1, by the way. Did you see the
Our
new ratings?
Our ratings increasing.
Yes, we're through the roof. Thank you to those of you who listen every day. We appreciate each and every one of you who make us number 1 month in and month out. Mm-hmm. And couldn't do it without you. Whether you listen because you love us or you listen because you hate us, thanks for contributing to our retirement funds. We appreciate you. You're the best. All right. So that being said, so it's interesting. College football championship game ratings were down as well. It was like 22. Now, down's all relevant. It's 22.1 million people watched the Notre Dame Ohio State game, which would make it, I think, the highest non-NFL broadcast of the year event, right? So it's all relevant, but it's down like 3 million people from last year. And what you have seen over the past 4 or 5 years in college football is a continual slide on overall on the ratings. And I think with college football, I think it's a mixture of a couple things. One, and remember I said this on the show, and Hammer tried to act like this was the most stupid thing ever. I said, I have an issue. Well, I love Notre Dame. I have an issue being as passionate about Notre Dame as I have been because I feel like a lot of these dudes are mercenaries. They're not. When I was a kid, and you know this because you're a huge Notre Dame fan, it was the idea of you went to Notre Dame because it was special.
Yeah.
And this guy was going to be there for 4 years, and you got a chance to know that, hey, as a freshman, you're going to see this dude all the way through.
Right.
Now it's a different quarterback every year, and this guy's come in through NIL. And so I think a lot
It's hard to make that connection.
The connection. And speaking of connection, I mean, we saw it last night with IU, who lost again. These kids are getting all this money and they stink. Why would anybody want to, subject themselves to that unless you're just the most hardcore of IU fans? So I do think with college football, the NIL is really impacting the loyalty or the interest that people have in college athletics, because these guys are basically mini professionals now.
I think there's also a few other things that were playing into the Notre Dame-Ohio State game with the viewership being down. One, I know people say Notre Dame's a national team, but when you look at that realistically, you had two regional teams playing each other.
Yeah.
Were people in Los Angeles or New York really as into that game as people in the Midwest? Maybe not.
And that's interesting because somebody said, because the theory was, okay, you have these two mega brands, which are Notre Dame and Ohio State.
Yeah.
But somebody said both of those teams, unless you cheer for them, they're absolutely hated. So while they do
they're very much the Yankees.
Right,
Love them or hate them.
both of them.
Yeah.
Right. So you have these two mega brands, but in a weird way, some people wanted to see both of them lose.
Right.
So there was no.
That can't happen.
There was no good guy in the game, and unless you're a follower of those brands, you were not going to tune in. The other thing that's interesting, I think there's too many teams in the college football playoff. This thing went on for 4 weeks, right?
Okay, that's another thing that I was going to point out. There could have been a little bit of viewer fatigue because the playoff season was longer, but not only because of that, but because earlier in the day, you had the viewership for the inauguration as well.
Yeah.
So people were maybe picking and choosing how they were going to spend their TV viewing time.
Because you think about, for Notre Dame, super hype, game one, it's IU, it's at Notre Dame Stadium. Hey, that's super cool. And then after that, you're watching the games, but it's like, well, we already won a bowl game. In the past, if you won a bowl game and then they went to 2 and the playoff went to 4, hey, now you're the national champ. And now it's like you win 2 bowl games. Oh, you still got 2 more to go. Now, because of the money, I'm not sure they're going to decrease this, but I do think that's a major factor in this new formatics is 4 bowl games, 4 playoff games is just.
It's a lot.
It's just way too much.
Yeah, you had to do more podcasts.
That's right. Now, NFL is also interesting. I've thought this for a while that you reach remember NASCAR in the early 2000s? It had this meteoric rise that kind of centers around the CART IRL split in IndyCar. And people got kind of disillusioned with IndyCar, and then NASCAR comes on with all this. It was the early, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon, and there's these kind of great, colorful Tony Stewart characters, and there's this huge meteoric rise of NASCAR to where it was far eclipsing, like at the Brickyard 400 was far more popular than the Indy 500 there for a couple of years. And then finally it just sort of plateaued. They started tinkering with the rules. They started tinkering with kind of the leeway they were giving the personalities. And then it peaked, right? Like it can't go any higher than this. And I think the NFL is getting there now because they've legislated the violence out of the game to the point where there's just not. Like, I will always watch the NFL, but some of these rules are ridiculous. The protect the quarterback stuff, the kickoff rules.
Right.
They're fundamentally changing the game the same way they fundamentally changed NASCAR to where you're only going to attract so many outside viewers. You've got to keep your core constituency. And I don't think the NFL's doing a good job of that with the legislating of violence out of the game.
Well, and we have mentioned that before, that perhaps in this country they've reached critical mass. And unless they're going to expand the global audience, that's where they can pick up more viewers. And that is perhaps why, didn't the Colts announce they're going to be starting next season?
Going to Germany.
Right.
Going to Germany.
So is that part of it, that they're trying to expand their base, their audience?
And you know this because you were in the business side of radio for many, many years. What did we see started to become the major downfall of this industry was in 1996, Bill Clinton, I think it was 96, signed the TCOM law that allowed megacorps to start buying
consolidation.
Yeah, radio and television stations as well. And what you saw was, hey, we're these megacorps and we're going everywhere. We're gobbling up radio stations in all these cities. Well, while that might have sounded like a good idea, they stopped doing the radio stations well, and they started just running as many radio stations as they could possibly run. Well, you sort of are seeing the same thing with the NFL, which is now we're in Brazil, now we're in Germany, now we're in France, now we're in England.
And how will that change the game, because they're targeting a different audience?
Right.
It was very much an American thing.
Right. And it hasn't, I mean, doing one or two games a year, doing one, an event in your country, okay, you're going to fill a stadium for that, but you're not going to consistently put fans in the stands in Brazil or these other places. And I know they're talking about, well, maybe we need a team permanently based in England, and I just think the NFL,
they do that, they're going to start bringing their own traditions into it, and it will change the game.
They've also, and I get they did this for financial reasons, the moving to streaming for marquee games, I think, is alienating some people as well. Because for our entire lives, your entire life, my entire life, the National Football League, now you might have had to have cable to
broadcast
to get some of these games.
Yeah.
But by and large, especially Sunday afternoons and Monday evenings, the National Football League had been free viewing, and now you're making people pay to consume your product.
Right. You've got these economic factors as well. People are choosing to spend less on these subscriptions and streaming services and these sports packages, and they're not able to watch all of the games. Therefore, they're choosing, well, I guess I'm going to miss it.
Growth very rarely works out well for the consumer. It may work out for the entity from a financial standpoint, but growth very rarely works out well for the consumer, because growth means you're having to appeal to more people. You're having to cast a wider net. Why is vanilla ice cream? Everybody, my dear friend Jay Baker said this years ago, and it's absolutely true. Talk about radio. You always get people all the time on music stations that go, well, these stations just play the same 20 songs over and over again. Well, why is it that at Dairy Queen every year the number one flavor sold is vanilla? Because everybody can eat it, right? People can say, I want variety. They can say, I want the triple chocolate chip. But vanilla is the number one selling flavor because everybody consumes it. And that's the same thing with music. Why do they play the same 20 Rolling Stones, Beatles, Eagles, whatever?
Because they test well.
Exactly.
Because oh wows can turn into oh no's very quickly.
And the same thing with the National Football League or any other business that is trying to do rapid expansion in a wide net. You're trying to appeal as many people as possible. And when you do that, you start diluting the product.
Well, just going back to what you're saying about, radio, the radio industry, for an example, how growth is never good for the consumer. When you consider your local radio station, with the exception of WIBC here in Indianapolis, typically when it's being piped in or managed in from another market, it loses its local effectiveness.
Yeah.
Because chances are the disc jockey's not even actually in that city that it's supposed to be servicing.
Yeah, that was a great segment. I'm sure we'll get a Marconi for that. That was really good. You did a fine job.
Oh, you did too. You know what? I can see why you're number one.
That's right. We're number one. Yes.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show 306. We're back on the mic. Nobody has more fun in the afternoon than we do. The biggest stories in Indy. Rob Kendall off the rails. We'll talk this afternoon. 93 WIBC.
Recent talk about rising interest rates and economic uncertainty may have you wondering if now is the right time to sell your home. Will I get the price I need? Will it take too long? The good news, you don't have to figure this out by yourself. There's a friendly, no-pressure, experienced agent who eats and sleeps Indianapolis real estate, Mark Deedle. Perhaps you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Crystal and Franklin had to say about working with Mark Dietel. I was moving to Kentucky and needed to move fast. I got the Mark Dietel marketing plan and was blown away. The plan worked. I got a full list price offer in the first weekend. Just like that, Mark and his team got it done. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
What is 988?
It's a free 24-hour suicide and crisis lifeline.
And what is a crisis?
Maybe something you experience so often.
You don't even think it's a crisis.
Anxiety over money.
A stressful relationship.
Concerns about a loved one's mental health.
If you are experiencing thoughts of suicide or mental health or substance use crisis, call or text 988.
It's a listening ear.
And it's a way forward.
Hey, Pat Sullivan here, and if you're ready to start the new year taking care of you, then my friends at Hope Plumbing are here to help. For the month of January, get softer skin and hair, spotless glassware, take better care of your home appliances, and save money with a $200 off any new water softener. Let's celebrate the new year with the gift of soft water and ditch annoying scale buildup, failing appliances, and rough skin and nails. Call my friends at Hope Plumbing today.
Why not start 2025 with a great new deal from Tom Roush Lincoln? Select 2024 Lincoln Navigators, now $12,000 off, and get 0% for 72 months. How about an all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus, now $6,000 off with rates starting at 4.9% for 60 months. So start the new year with a new car from Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Lincoln Navigator MSRP 104,825. Lincoln Nautilus MSRP 61,695. Offers good through January 31st, 2025. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
That's are us. When dreams don't in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 765-545-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 765-545-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams don't in, that's are us.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Be on my side, oh, be on your side.
So we just spent some time talking about how the college football and NFL ratings are down, but here we go again. CNN set to announce mass layoffs today. Hundreds of employees are expected to be let go. The layoffs are part of a plan to refocus CNN on a global digital audience and lower their production costs. They actually might be moving some of their shows from New York or Washington to Atlanta for cheaper production costs.
So this is what we call the death spiral in the media industry. And you see this all the time. It's funny because we just talked about these mega corporations buying up radio stations and how that was sort of the beginning of the end as we kind of radio went through such a transformation, or has since the late 90s when this started happening. And for a while it went well, and then it obviously the last decade or so has not gone great because these megacorps far exceeded their ability to pay these loans as the industry changed, et cetera. With CNN, the problem is not production costs. I mean, it is now because you're hemorrhaging money and your ratings stink, but the problem is people don't like your product. You can't cut your way to profit. You know this. You were in management and radio for many, many years. You cannot cut your way to long-term sustainability. Now, anytime somebody comes in, takes over a corporation, a company, they're looking ways to save money, et cetera. But unless you're consistently generating new and greater revenue, just by sheer inflation and the enhanced cost of goods and services, that is going to eventually run out. And that's where CNN is right now.
Well, they also have these outrageous contracts for their talents, but CNN isn't the only one. NBC and MSNBC are also planning on cutting jobs, and those layoffs are expected to come. Not quite as many as CNN is having, but the Washington Post, also the Associated Press, they're reducing their workforce to cut costs. And I came across this, and while these people are talking, these are some TV announcers, and they're saying goodbye to their audience because their jobs have been cut due to downsizing. But the inside monologue is these people saying, boy, I wish I had learned another skill.
For those of you who don't know, both of our positions are being eliminated here at WTHI TV. The television news business in general is changing nationwide, and budget cuts are happening everywhere.
And after 4 decades of dedication to WTHI and to the Wabash Valley, we had both hoped to go out on our own terms to celebrate, but that's not the case.
They hoped they could go out on their own terms.
So WTHI, legendary television station in Terre Haute. Now, that guy's voice, I don't remember his name, but I've heard that guy's voice for most of my life because my grandparents lived in Terre Haute. They watched the nightly news. You know, my grandparents were like clockwork. It's like you'd be eating dinner, the local news, the nightly news, the Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, right? Like it was just boom, 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 boom. And so that guy's voice, I've heard it for many, many years. But this is the conversation we've had. You cannot cut yourself to prosperity. And so to bring it back to where you were talking about with NBC or CNN, these ridiculous contracts, if Rachel Maddow disappeared tomorrow and you put some other goofy liberal in there, would the ratings substantially change one way or another? Like, I don't know what she's making. She came out, she was making like $25 million.
Right, and they reduced it to $20 million.
Yeah, so let's say you put somebody in for $1 million. Casey, would you go work in New York for $1 million?
Yeah.
Yes, right. And the ratings would be
But the thing you have to consider that is still $1 million. The rent is so high there.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is you could find people that could do the basic mechanics of television and save all of that money. They're not producing people that the public at large wants to consume.
The thing that I would have a really hard time with is if they came in and editorialized me and said, these are your talking points. This is the message that you have to say.
That's why we like working here. They don't even remember we're here. We're like Milton on Office Space. All those guys were on the air again today. Great. How'd it go?
As long as there wasn't dead air. That's all we care about. It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
It's like being trapped in a cage. And I know, that sounds dramatic, but your breathing triangle problem has got you trapped. And once you're freed, you're going to be able to live the life that you're missing out on. Now, this can simply mean experiencing the true pleasure of breathing freely. It will mean better sleep and more energy. And the worry of this problem any more affecting your life is going to be gone. Because in almost every case, when Advent has solved a breathing triangle problem, it's a one and done. Because we're not in the business of delivering Band-Aids. We want to fix your nasal breathing problem for good. We don't want you to be a lifelong patient. We want you to be our next success story.
Isn't it time you break free from that cage? Take the next step. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows. When you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest. The crew at LD Smith Plumbing has deep roots in Indiana. Unfortunately, most of the trees around here have deep roots too. And if it isn't roots in your pipes, it's a water heater ruined by sediment. No matter the plumbing problem, we'll show water who's boss. So if you need a new water heater, call us today and save up to $300 on a tankless water heater or $150 on a storage water heater.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
It's the new year. Time to make a positive change in your life.
I went to My Computer Career because I needed job security.
Because I wanted a career in cybersecurity.
I went to My Computer Career because IT jobs are everywhere.
My old job was going nowhere.
I went because I didn't want college loans for the rest of my life.
Because I wanted a career for the rest of my life.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Financial aid available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. 529 college savings plans accepted. Not available in Washington State.
Health gives you the ability to love more, feel more, be more. Health gives you the ability to live an extraordinary life. Because every day, no matter the challenges, is a chance to breathe, laugh until your belly aches, cry because you care so much, and experience everything that makes your life truly extraordinary. For 150 years, Franciscan Health has been there, watching extraordinary lives unfold. Love your extraordinary life.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, I'm Scott Wilson, third-generation owner of Wilson Farm Market, just 15 minutes north of 465 on 31. If you are looking for your source of homegrown, locally made, know where your food's coming from, we are your spot. We have hand-dipped ice cream, 130 different kinds of cheese. We fry chicken, just a little bit of everything, a foodie's heaven. Wilson Farm Market, where good taste runs in the family. Just 15 minutes north of 465, right on US 31.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Sasha Nixon reports on the human trafficking operation busted in Morgan County. Plus, Governor Braun is defending his directive regarding Medicaid. And it's not as cold now, but it'll get frigid again tonight. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
He's ready to battle sanctuary cities. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. As President Trump plans mass deportations of illegal immigrants following a record surge, he tells Fox's Hannity.
We're trying to get rid of them. We're trying to end them, and a lot of the people in those communities don't want them. You know, California is a big example.
Would you cut off their money?
I might have to do that.
Federal agents have also been conducting raids. Fox's Bill Malugin out with them in Boston.
This team of elite ICE officers is briefing on their targets for the day.
We're going to be targeting some extremely violent offenders today.
Within moments, the officers are on the move, with eyes on their first target. They quickly take him into custody. He's an MS-13 gang member wanted in El Salvador for aggravated murder. And he has an Interpol red notice out for his arrest.
Now, the president's also deploying another 1,500 troops to the southern border. A Trump executive order to undo what's called birthright citizenship is being challenged in court by several Democrat-led states.
The lawsuit seeks to block federal agencies from acting on the order. Birthright citizenship is enshrined in the 14th Amendment and grants citizenship to anyone born on U.S. soil, regardless of whether their parents are in the country legally.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. President Trump also tells Fox he wants to reform FEMA and disaster response.
I'd rather see the states take care of their own problems.
And tomorrow he'll visit areas of North Carolina ravaged by flooding last year in a hurricane, then go to the Los Angeles area where a wildfire disaster burned down thousands of homes and buildings. Firefighters spent all night battling a big new one north of L.A.
Largely the Hughes fire, 10,000 acres, is now burning into a wilderness area, the Castaic State Park.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt. The Oscar nominations are out, released this morning, and here are the movies up for the Best Picture award.
Anora.
The Brutalist.
A Complete Unknown.
Conclave.
Dune, Part 2.
Amelia Perez.
I'm Still Here.
Nickel Boys.
The Substance.
And Wicked.
Amelia Perez leads the way with the most total Oscar nominations, 13. We'll find out the winners March 2nd. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The long list of charges Some snow showers on radar. Cloudy and 28 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Child abuse, molestation, and a lot more are the charges against a couple in Morgan County. Sasha Nixon reports.
Brian and Sonia Stafford were charged with more than 120 total counts in late December. Documents released Wednesday indicate that multiple kids were abused while in the care of the Staffords. At least 11 victims have been identified, though the two ultimately cared for more than 30 children. Police say Brian sexually abused kids as young as 7 years old for years, while Sonia physically abused them. Brian may have even gotten one girl pregnant. The Staffords later divorced. Sasha Nixon, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
Governor Mike Braun signed 9 executive orders on Wednesday, one of which involves what is described as the faithful execution of pro-life laws in Indiana. Another directs the Indiana FSSA to develop an interactive dashboard to streamline healthcare programs. Braun also clarifying his directive for Medicaid providers to stop advertising their products on TV and radio. He says Medicaid needs to be overhauled.
So that's a broken program in the sense that they don't know what to do with it out in Congress in terms of sustaining it long term.
And he says to do that, they need to limit adding more people to the program, though he says they will not reduce the number of people currently on Medicaid. Temperatures are not as cold as they have been the last couple of days.
This time yesterday we were below zero. Today we're around 20 degrees, and that's the warm air moving up ahead of a cold front today, and that's going to boost our high temperatures into the middle 20s to lower 30s.
That aforementioned cold front will bring with it a chill back to the air. Lows will be back in the single digits tonight. Another rough night for the Indiana Hoosiers. They lost 79-70 to Northwestern Wednesday. The Hoosiers giving up 54 points in the second half to the Wildcats. They return home to face Maryland on Sunday. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Attention Indiana Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one who lives with you. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care with help preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more. A family member or friend that gets paid instantly. It's all through Medicaid and 100% free to you. Call now to check your eligibility. New to Medicaid, the Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 5,000 five-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. This service is free to you through Medicaid, and with our InstaPay app, caregivers can choose to get paid instantly. So go to freedomcare.com or call 463-208-7977. 463-208-7977. That's 463-208-7977.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, January 23rd. It's 5 minutes after 10. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. Well, we just heard it in the news with Kurt Darling, so let's talk about it. Indiana's Governor Mike Braun has signed 9 executive orders. They all focus on improving the state's healthcare system. The orders aim to reduce healthcare costs, increase access to healthcare, and also increase transparency within the healthcare system. All things that sound pretty good to me.
So the big one that's getting the attention is he signed an executive order related to abortion. Essentially, there is a fight currently going on led by Todd Rokita and an anti-abortion group to try to get records of, because the state is legally obligated to provide certain abortion records as a part of the abortion, I'll call it the Abortion Reduction Act, but the law that was passed in 2022 revamping Indiana's abortion statutes. And there's been pushback by agencies inside of the state claiming, well, we're very concerned because, and this is a good thing, there are so few abortions now in Indiana that it would be a potential privacy violation that we don't want people figuring out who's had these abortions. And so this was more of a nod. I don't want to use the term publicity stunt, because at any time you're fighting for life, that's a good thing. And it corresponded with, there was the big Right to Life march yesterday outside the State House, and so it corresponded with that. But it was basically directing state agencies to comply with the law in terms of helping the Attorney General in his pursuit to get what he wants. I mean, that's basically what it was. It's not changing a lot. It was basically, again, a ceremonial type of thing, and it certainly, we'll just say, was a wonderfully splendid coincidence. It corresponded with the Right to Life March.
Yeah, Braun said that he supports Todd Rokita's efforts to ensure laws are enforced, including the director for full cooperation with his office, and the Indiana Right to Life supports the move. And you're right, the Indiana March for Life was yesterday at the State House. Started out with a smaller group, but at the end, I think they had like close to 2,000 people there. And Mike Braun said that he had a great time braving the freezing temperatures to stand for life in Indiana, and he joined the crowd after signing those executive orders ensuring that our state's pro-life laws are enforced.
Well, and this the media hates this, and the Democrats obviously hate it, but Indiana's a very pro-life state. And there's a reason that of those lawmakers who voted to strengthen Indiana's abortion provisions in 2022, that I believe all of them have been reelected since then. Mm-hmm. Some of them multiple times now, because we are a pro-life state, and we are a state that says we don't believe that defenseless little babies should have their brains sucked out for no fault of their own. And the Democrats don't get it. And we saw this past election cycle where Thing 1 and Thing 2, Wells and McCormick, made on-demand abortion advocacy the central part of their campaign, and they got smoked out of the building. And that's 2 for Destiny Wells. They don't get it. They don't understand. Indiana is a pro-life state. If you're going to do that, go march your ass over to Illinois, because we're not going to have it happen here. And it has dramatically reduced abortions that have taken place in the state of Indiana, which is as it was intended by the Supreme Court. Look, if you want your state to be an abortion factory, you vote for that. If that's what you want, you go live there, right? But states like Indiana have the right to say life matters. We're going to defend life, and that's a very good thing. Now, by the way, you were telling me you had a very interesting conversation in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, when I was waiting in line to go into an event while I was there, the woman behind me was the president of a chapter in Washington, D.C., and she's an advocate.
Right to life.
Right to life,
yeah.
Correct. And she is somebody who tries to help write policy regarding that. And the thing that struck me the most about her, she was a younger woman, but the thing that struck me the most was that and this could be said for, I think, most any law that is written, is that these people in Washington, D.C., they seem just so insulated and so in their bubble that they have no idea what it's like for people in Indiana or Iowa or Oklahoma or Utah across the country, just because they're just so in D.C., in the swamp, that they never get out of that to understand what's going on across the country.
Well, let's work through this. I thought that was a fascinating reveal. I'm not surprised by it, but I thought it was fascinating. And I think it's a good lesson to our audience that these people in Washington, for the most part, now there are some, I think, that have maintained somewhat of a grasp on what life is like back home. But you need to understand the majority of these people, when they go there, they are not fighting for you anymore. They may go with decent intentions, but it's really easy to get
sucked in,
to get swallowed up. It's no different than in any phase of your life. You are the company you keep, right? Like, think about people who make poor choices as young people, whether it's drug addiction or alcohol or whatever, bad relationships. It's because they generally tend to hang around that crowd of people. And that's where parenting comes in, right? That's where good parenting, teaching your kids right from wrong, ramifications for your actions, all of those sorts of things come in, because you want your kids to stay out of that sort of environment. And so that translates into adulthood. You are the company you keep. And in that Washington, D.C. bubble, where, let's face it, you're basically living there. You may come home to your district one week out of the month or weekend or whatever, but you're basically living there. you become that. Your friends become donors and lobbyists and other lawmakers, and that's your crowd. And so you lose track, because you're living a pretty decent existence, the struggles of the people you're supposed to be representing.
And it just reminded me of Mike Braun when he was a senator, and he said he thought he could help Hoosiers more by being here in Indiana and being a governor. And that was just on full display for me while I was there. So, I mean, I think it's really beholden on us as the constituents to, how often is Todd Young here in Indiana?
Right.
And Jim Banks? If they're spending all of their time in D.C., are they really working for Hoosiers?
Well, and think about like with Todd Young. So we all remember the infamous Flapjacks incident where I went, and then they got very angry that I was there. He had some event. And by the way, everything I'm about to tell you, Case, has been backed up by eyewitness accounts. We've heard from them, that the people that were there that day, that, we were having some fun with them, and they're so, I knew, because they have so little See, the problem for these people is they live in what I call the ass kisser world. And what I mean by that is their whole life is somebody kissing their butt. They're workers. The worker bees kiss their butt. Why? Because you want to elevate with the congressman or the senator. The constituent kisses their butt because they want, either it's, oh, I got my photo with this person, or he's my friend, or a lot of times they want something, right? So it's just a continuum.
Or they want to be seen at a place to make it look like they're adjacent to power.
Right. And I have said this for years now. The worst thing you can do is buy a ticket to one of these events and then stand in line to get your photo with one of these people, because you're feeding the beast, which is, see, people need to be around me. They want to be around me. You're elevating their sense of better than you. So, the tagline of our show is, we dislike all of these people equally. I don't want to be friends with any of you people. I went through a period where I had to be around you people. It's the worst 2, 3, 4 years of my existence, right? So there's nothing they can do to us. They don't own us. They can't break us. They can't anything to us. And so part of their lack of self-control is anytime someone challenges them, they'll take the bait, because they cannot stand that somebody, you were telling me that you got privy to information about, we won't say who this person is, but there's one statewide office holder who he just hears everything we say, and boy, it just bothers him to the ends of the earth, right, Case? Boy, wasn't that story relayed to you? Yeah. And this person will bitch and whine and moan, and it's like, you are a statewide office holder, you are a whatever-year-old man, act like a damn adult, right? But because they can't stand to be challenged. So, we say on the air, hey, Spendingburg's having this public event. I think I'm going to go ask some questions. Well, they knew I was coming. And from the moment they walked in the door, now, are you here to cause trouble? No, I'm here as a taxpayer. I'm allowed to be here. And then, of course, no filming. You think about it. A U.S. senator. No, you can't film him. Why would you do that? Because you are able to exert that authority wherever you go, and you are used to complete and utter submission and compliance from people, because it's the butt sniffer brigade. That's what these people are used to being around.
Well, what I saw when I was in Washington, D.C., it was how much we need to have our elected officials out among us, because if they are truly representing us, they can't be sitting in the State House or in their office making the decisions, lording over you. They need to be out with you. So if you're not seeing them, it's on us to say, hey, you know what? 92 counties. When's the last time you were up north or down south? You need to, make sure that they get out and really know what's going on with the people they represent.
Yeah, but I thought that was super interesting that you had this conversation. And so what happens then is it's everybody, right? Because that woman, her bubble becomes, I'm trying to influence, or I'm trying to elevate, or I'm trying to whatever these people in this orbit. Well, everybody's locked into that orbit because it's become such a comfortable existence. It's not really all that much different, though, than like when I spent 2 years in the South on a regular basis. It's a different world. We live in the same country. We're governed under largely the same set of rules.
The culture's different, though.
But it's different, and so you got to learn to adapt pretty quick, because they deal with undesirables a little differently down in the South than they do here. We're a little kinder and gentler with people we disagree with. But you realize every place you go, That's their orbit. That's their life. That's their world. We are all largely locked into the places we live and the existence we have. The difference with Washington, D.C. is they're able to dictate to 330 million other people how they have to exist.
Right.
That's the only difference. Some guy in rural North Carolina doesn't get to have any say over what I do here in Indiana, but some guy in Washington, D.C. absolutely does.
Yeah. And it's really interesting that they're the ones that are, writing the laws for you. And how often are they there?
Yeah.
How often are they there among you, yet they're representing you?
How long do you think you could make it in Washington, D.C., like as a regular person?
Well, I think it really, what do you mean?
Okay, so
how long can I make it?
Let's say
by the time I left, I was ready to leave.
Okay, so I was going to say, let's say that somebody came to you and said, Casey Daniels,
but it was a much different scenario because everything was, locked down.
Sure, but you get the idea. You got the idea of who's there and what they're doing. If you had to, let's say they wanted you to do the morning radio show at the whatever the big talk station is in Washington, the greater Washington, D.C. area, could you make it in that existence?
Well, the salary would have to be at a level that I could afford to live there because it's a very expensive
But you wouldn't
town.
want to live there. Really? I mean, would you want to live there? Well, you're an events person, so
I like the history of D.C.
Yeah.
I would be at a different museum or a different monument all the time.
But you would also probably likely be able to continue your gunshots or fireworks game that you and your husband play every night.
That's true. That's true because Washington, D.C. has become very dangerous as well. We've got more from Mike Braun that we're going to cover, especially his calling the Medicaid a broken program and how he's been defending his order to stop advertising. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
No matter where you head on your commute, Matt Bear is there. Paris.
Les Champs-Élysées sont un véritable parking ce matin.
Warsaw.
W drodze do pracy wyjdź trochę wcześniej.
Or Brazil.
Temos bisbilhotice no Rio de Janeiro. Não haja como turista.
Matt, these are all cities in Indiana.
Oh, that makes my job easier.
Making your commute easier. Matt Bear Traffic. Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Is credit card debt ruining your life? Did you know you have a right to settle that debt for much less than you owe? DebtBlue has helped people just like you resolve millions of dollars of high-interest credit card debt. They can help with payment relief, the burden of rising inflation, and have a large portion of your debt wiped clean. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, a free 10-minute phone call could save you thousands. Discover how to reduce or completely resolve your credit card debt. In fact, we are so sure that we can reduce your debt that we offer the DebtBlue Success Guarantee. We don't get paid unless your debt gets reduced or resolved, so there is absolutely no risk to call. For your free debt resolution plan, call 800-908-6355. That's 800-908-6355. The call is free. The consultation is free. The more you owe, the more you can save. Call now. 800-908-6355. That's 800-908-6355.
You said bye-bye to big government. Now it's time to trim the fat from big wireless. Pure Talk gives you the exact same service. They use the same cell towers, the same 5G network. You get better customer service, and you pay half the price for the exact same thing. Get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot for just $35 a month. Make the switch. You simply dial pound 250. You say the keyword save now. Save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
B is offering one bath remodel for as low as $99 a month, or get two bath remodels for as low as $249 a month. Call now to schedule that free in-home design consultation.
Freaks and Harris, dykes and Ferris, tell me where is sanity?
Mike Braun has defended his administration's directive to stop advertising Medicaid programs, calling it a broken program. He restated that it's broken. He criticized the federal government's handling of the program, particularly in Congress.
So we touched on this yesterday, and we said obviously this is actually going to end up being a hot button topic, because as we said yesterday, this will hurt our industry. It will hurt us because we do get some radio advertising that promote these services. So we said that we're not going to mislead our audience when we're talking about a topic, but it's something we need to talk about. And we said that the challenge is, how do you solve the Medicaid crisis? There's clearly a lot of money going out the door here, and way more money going out than is coming in. Mm-hmm. And we are on a freight train to insolvency with this thing. And I think Braun's trying to get a handle around it. The problem with this proposal, and we were talking with one of our bosses yesterday about this, and it sounds like it's going to end up in the courts very quickly. Yeah. Because apparently digital advertising has been exempted. Yeah. That's a major issue and a major mistake Braun made, if that is indeed true, because it's one thing to say, okay, we're cutting everybody off on this. Okay, fine. But what you've got is these, and we talked about this yesterday, you've got these private companies that Medicaid is contracting with. They're getting Medicaid dollars. They're using that to advertise their services to help provide the Medicaid services, right? So it's like this weird circle that's going around here. And what Braun is saying is, no, you can't do that anymore. If you're getting money from us, you can't advertise what you do.
And that's where the free speech question comes into play, because it's like, I think one of them, Freedom Care, freedomcare.com. Okay, they get their money from Medicaid, and then Freedom Care goes and advertises. Right. So technically, the radio and TV stations are getting their money from Freedom Care, not directly from Medicaid. And Braun is saying, no, you can't advertise. Well, I'm sorry, but the governor can't tell Freedom Care who they can and can't advertise with.
Right, and that's where we talked about yesterday. You've got this, as a taxpayer, I'm saying, okay, so as somebody who works here, it's like, ooh, that's gonna hurt me. But as someone who loves my state and my country more than my job, I say, I understand what you're trying to do. However, once you start doing a deep dive on this, it's very likely one going to end up in a lawsuit. Talked to a couple of people about this. They're probably going to lose because they exempted digital advertising, and that's a huge mistake. If you're going to cut it off. You got to cut everybody off.
Again, it's picking winners and losers,
exactly,
right?
And
you can't be selective like that.
So kudos to trying to fix the issue.
Absolutely.
But the issue itself is, there's too many people you're approving for the process. There's too many able-bodied people who are allowed to be on this service. There's too many people. It's not, it's like putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. Yeah, okay, you can save a little bit of money here, but the bigger issue is all of these people who don't need to be on this government-funded service that you being the state of Indiana, you being specifically Eric Holcomb, basically begged to get on this service.
So Braun was asked about this, and he said that his administration is trying to reduce. He said they're not trying to reduce enrollment, and that they weren't going to litigate that here. And his chief of staff said that the goal was to focus on ensuring eligibility for those on Medicaid, but not the actual enrollment number.
But that's the problem, is until you reduce the number, you're going to have the problem. The number has to go down. You can't fix this problem. When you've got, what was it, like one out of every 14? One out of every 14 people are on Medicaid in the state of Indiana. Is that right? I thought that was the number. It was like 500,000 people. Well, in a state of 7 million, that's one every. That's unsustainable. Like, I'm sorry, it's the same argument we have with Social Security and Medicare. where these people just want to put their head in the sand, these politicians, and act like these things aren't running out of money. That's unsustainable that 1 out of every 14 people is on publicly government-funded health care. That you got way more people. I mean, I wonder what is the unemployment? The unemployment rate is at 3%. That's a lot of people working, or that's a lot of people on.
It's a lot of people not working.
Right. Well, or they're not working. Yeah, right. But what I'm saying is the payers per person not working, that's not a very sustainable number.
I did ask how much money was involved with all of this, and we don't exactly have that answer yet.
Yeah, so it's going to be fascinating to see this play out. Something like there's definitely going to be a lawsuit on this. I'm not an attorney, but I don't think you can be treating people differently, especially when it involves government money. You either got to cut it all off or you got to keep the door open for these companies to advertise. But we'll see how it goes. That's for somebody who makes a lot more money than me to decide.
So here is Mike Braun calling the Medicaid a broken program.
So that's a broken program in the sense that they don't know what to do with it out in Congress in terms of sustaining it long term. Mm-hmm. If that program wants to stay in place, for those that can't afford health care, we're going to have to do a better job at running it as opposed to inviting more people to come onto it. You do that once you fix it.
So we've got voicemails coming up, and we did get a phone call, somebody sharing a long story, but I think it's worth it, and her experience working with this. So we're going to get to it coming up. It's 93 WIBC.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season. I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text YOUTH to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text YOUTH to 42424. That's YOUTH to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Are you thinking this year I want to look and feel better and get my hair back? We Grow Hair Indy can help you do just that. I'm Rob, and I got my hair back at We Grow Hair Indy. Here's Darren Andrews, clinic director, to tell you why I chose them.
For nearly 20 years, we've helped thousands of clients grow their hair back, and we can help you. We're one of only 2 places in the entire country to offer the ARTIS Robotic FUE and multi-unit hair grafting.
I got multi-unit hair grafting. I love the results and cannot believe how much hair I got back. I can't recommend them enough. Call right now, 317-522-2995 for a free evaluation. Great technology, great company, great people, great results. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com, see my results, and call 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Don't you want to say, I got my hair back?
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Will they confirm him? Radar showing some light snow on radar. It is cloudy and 28 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. A key procedural vote to move forward the nomination of Pete Hegseth for Defense Secretary is set for this afternoon. However, it's unknown if the Senate will vote to confirm him today or not. It comes as multiple confirmation votes are taking place on Capitol Hill today for President Trump's cabinet picks. Deportations are happening as President Trump cracks down on illegal immigration. Fox's Jill Nato.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement says they've made more than 460 arrests. ICE tells Fox News Digital many of them are migrants with criminal histories, and the president tells Fox's Hannity the number of migrants in the U.S. is massive. Many migrant advocates are saying the president's immigration crackdown will most likely drive asylum seekers to try and cross the border any way they can, even if it puts their lives in danger. Jill Nato, Fox News.
I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
With a B&W Premier Club membership, you'll stay ahead of breakdowns and costly repairs. Our members get routine maintenance, priority scheduling, and exclusive discounts, saving you money and keeping your family comfortable all season long. Visit bplusw.com or call 317-214-0108 for more information.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
A diagnosis of Alzheimer's can make it a struggle to communicate with loved ones. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. In a moment, I've got a tip which often helps that will be music to your ears. Don't go away.
Cardon and Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
A growing number of studies show the power of music's role in those living with Alzheimer's. The next time a loved one seems to be tuned out, gently place headphones on them or simply turn on one of their favorite songs. Watch their eyes light up, and don't be surprised if they sing along or start chatting about the tune. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
B is offering one bath remodel for as low as $99 a month or get two bath remodels for as low as $249 a month. Call now to schedule that free in-home design consultation.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails.
The phone number is 317-684-8444. If you'd like to get involved with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, it is time to hear from you and your voicemails. And as promised, we have a couple phone calls about this Medicaid discussion. Of course, Mike Braun has defended his directive to stop advertising Medicaid programs, calling it a broken program. He said that for the program to continue long-term, better management is needed rather than increasing enrollments.
Okay, real quick. So why we spend time on something like this is because it's your money. Your money, the government is taking money from you, and they are spending it on these programs. And this program has become so big, so massive under Governor Holcomb that it is simply unsustainable. And we should want as a society to protect the people who cannot protect themselves. That's why it was when they came for the people with the disabilities, right, as part of these massive cuts they've had to do, why people like us got so outraged, because they're cutting services to people who actually need them, which is people who can't fend for themselves, and not making the people who can walk and can talk and can lift and can work. We're not requiring those people. This system has so little oversight and protection inside of it that people who can and should be working can and should be able to pay for at least a portion of their insurance, their medical services, are not doing that. And so you and I are continually asked to pay for more because people who can and should be working and paying at least a portion of their own way, they are not doing that.
This first phone call is about the advertising, how the directive stops health plan providers from running radio and TV ads for Medicaid.
Yeah, I was just wanted to comment this thing about the Medicaid advertising being stopped by the governor. Every time I hear it on the news about the Broadcast Association being in an uproar about this being pulled, and then not to mention they're talking about First Amendment issues, it just absolutely disgusts me. This is no different than if any other company, if Chevrolet were advertising on the radio and to sell their cars and decided they didn't want to advertise their cars anymore, and they just stopped. This is the same thing with Medicaid. It's just like anything else. The broadcasters will just have to find somebody else that's willing to pay for advertising. It's just that simple. And as far as any First Amendment issues are concerned, the broadcasters, they're free to advertise this stuff all they want to on their dime if they want to do free public service announcements. It's not a First Amendment issue. So I'm sorry. It's just like any other business. If I don't want to advertise anymore, I shouldn't have to be forced to. And in the grand scheme of things, this is not a big chunk of money for any broadcaster losing Medicaid commercials.
Okay, so a couple things that are wrong with that. Number one, he's right if they actually are, if everything is private. The problem with this is the government, this is public money that are going to these private companies, and the government, in this case the Braun administration, is not cutting off digital advertising. So that's just not the way it works, right? You can say that if it's one private company to another, right? If it's this private company engaging with us who is also privately owned, then okay. But you've got the government in the mix, which is a whole new batch of rules and regulations. If Mike Braun said, no more advertising, period, if you're taking money from us, okay. But he's not doing that. He's picking selectively with public money, winners and losers, hence why. And look, the Broadcasters Association would be derelict in their duty if they didn't file suit on this, because they're getting hurt while competition
digital
is getting rewarded. That's why they're upset. They would be upset if the money was being taken away from them. But the legality of it is you can't, with public money, tip the scales one way or another, and that's where the lawsuit is going to come in.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing maybe that they should cut off all the money.
They should cut it off, but it's got to be everybody.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Here's another phone call, and this one is talking about the waste, fraud, and abuse that happens within Medicaid, and somebody who works in the industry. A little bit longer of a phone call, but I wanted to share it with you.
Hello, Rob and Casey. It's Cindy calling, and I am so glad I tuned into your program this morning in regards to the Medicare or Medicaid fraud. I can honestly tell you I work in that industry of healthcare, and I have seen in the past 10 years that I've lived in Indianapolis the most egregious, horrible fraud in my life. Start with the subsidized housing and apartments at the south side of Town Line Road or Township Line Road here on the northwest side. Go into that complex and find out how many people are on Medicaid assistance, which I know of many, who are actually cooking and selling cakes and cookies out of their homes, who are actually making a lot of clothing and bling caps and bling clothes, and they're on Medicaid. And hundreds of them, not just a few, hundreds. It's like a fishnet of corruption that our freaking Marion County has allowed to happen. And I can only tell you, being in the business, I can tell you I was in a home of a 90-some-year-old veteran who was supposed to be on veteran benefits, but they declared Medicaid to help him and supposedly pay his girlfriend to be taken care of. But the man had not been out of his bed or bedroom for almost 3 years. And the girlfriend was in her 40s. He's in his 90s, living in his house, getting money. And this man was not being taken care of at all. And I literally walked out on that case and said, I'll never go back. But our company is very negligent in signing these Medicaid people up because they're getting money from the government. It's wrong. So wrong. So wrong. I left the company. I'm independent. And I refuse to work for a corporation or a company that's going to take Medicare benefits away, or take Medicare benefits and use them and abuse them like they're doing. But that's just my story. I can only imagine there's hundreds and hundreds more.
So that is something that Braun's chief of staff has reiterated, Josh Calley. He stated the focus is ensuring eligibility.
Well,
for those on Medicaid.
And I've told the story that I have a friend, and this person has done nothing wrong. They follow the letter of the law. They're in full compliance. They don't manipulate information. That works in the gig economy. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what this person's making, $60,000, $70,000 a year. I don't know. But this person has been eligible because of the way the reporting requirements work. Again, doing nothing wrong, nothing illegal. The system is set up and has been on the Healthy Indiana plan for years and has actually made choices. This person has actually made choices on what type of jobs they're willing to take based on how the payments are issued to them, because it would affect their insurance. Because if they take a certain job with a W-2, it would require them, that would trigger the thing with the state, and it would cost them a lot of money with insurance. Now, again, can't blame that person for following the law. What I blame is the law itself and the way it's written that is allowing all of these like, I'm not just lucky that I know this person, right? This is everywhere. This is happening everywhere. All these able-bodied people can, with any hint of creativity, continue to earn decent middle-class livings, and somebody else will pay for your insurance. Mm-hmm. It's utterly ridiculous, and it's happening all over the place. There are too many able-bodied people who are getting government assistance. Somebody in the YouTube chat just said they deliver FSSA mail to all kinds of $300,000 homes with Teslas or Jeeps in the yard. It's legalized vote buying. I've been saying this for years. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many times I have to be proven correct on this. Holcomb recognized, and Pence before him, that we can insure people's votes by taking money from other people. We know the thing's going to run out of money eventually, but we'll be long out of here by the time it does. And just let people think, oh, sweet daddy government, look at what they gave me. Oh, I'll vote for them again.
So, Braun is trying to be effective and do something about this, and it's going to get messy before it gets better.
Yeah.
Can we do one last phone call really quick, Kevin? It's the one labeled TikTok, and this one is about Diego Morales.
That recording you had of Morales, not answering the questions from Indiana on your show here about a week or two ago. Well, it's on TikTok now. TikTok's got 172 million people just in this country alone that view that, and it's showing him getting questioned, not answering anything. And I didn't really look to see who it was from, but I thought that was pretty interesting that now it's posted, for millions and millions to see. So just thought I'd let you know that. And I heard you talking about Holcomb. There's nobody's going to miss Holcomb. And that man was the worst governor in Indiana history besides Evan Bayh. Evan Bayh was terrible too. And neither one of them did anything good for this state. They both caused lots of people to suffer, a lot of people to lose their jobs. And he made it so even a lot of the state workers are still not completely back at their jobs.
We've got Hammer who's going to join us next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show 306. We're back on the mic. Nobody has more fun in the afternoon than we do. The biggest stories in Indy. Rob Kendall off the rails. We'll talk this afternoon. 93 WIBC.
Greetings from our agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. It's still Obamacare, right? We've recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what the heck do you have to lose? We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Call Ron or Terry at 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868. Or go to rragency.org. That's rragency.org. A health plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for Exercise Inc. A lot of folks give up on their bodies in their 40s or 50s. Statistically, we gain 1.5 pounds every year past 50, and it's usually a tough slog to fight that. 19 years ago, I took a friend's recommendation, and I went to Exercise Inc. for one of their free consultations. Me? I didn't want to get heavy. I wanted to stay trim and in shape, and that was really a struggle. 19 years ago I went, and 19 years later, I'm still going every week. They've helped me to reach and maintain my health and fitness goals, and they do that with specific strength training in only 20 minutes a week. You've just got to try this health and exercise approach, and the consultation is free. My guess is that, like me, you'll be skeptical for the first couple of weeks, and then it happens. You'll feel better. You'll probably lose some weight, and you'll probably look better, too. Go to Exercise Inc. today and sign up for a free consultation. Avon, Brownsburg, Zionsville, and Greenwood, now in Fishers, too. ExerciseInc.com.
The holidays are over, and the new year is here, making it the perfect time to think about the future. More specifically, it's the perfect time to think about your financial future. Right now, Howard Bailey Financial is offering a free retirement toolkit, a comprehensive guide designed to help you plan, save, and jumpstart the retirement you deserve. To get your free copy today, text FUTURE to 888-262-1104 and download your free retirement toolkit. Start 2025 off with a gift to yourself, filled with all the tools you need to plan for a positive and purpose-filled future. Just text FUTURE to 888-262-1104 to start planning today. Make this new year your year to invest in yourself and secure a brighter tomorrow, starting today. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
If you have chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, or shoulders, who can you turn to? How about real people with pain just like yours who discovered QC Kinetics?
Came to QC Kinetics. I had a lot of issues with my shoulders and neck. I am excited at the progress, being able to throw footballs with the grandkids.
My name is Jake. Was skeptical at first, but now after my procedures, I'm almost 100%.
Tens of thousands of patients are pain-free again with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime, thanks to a groundbreaking regenerative therapy that uses your body's own healing agents to revitalize damaged tissue. For a free consultation, call 463-292-1742.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I have absolutely no pain. The whole process is just fantastic.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
Find out if you're a candidate for regenerative therapy today. For a free consultation, call 463-292-1742. 463-292-1742.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 765-545-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 765-545-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams sunk in, that's are us.
Don't miss out on Hammer and Nigel Tequila by Hiatus. Pick up your unique bottle at any Ale Emporium location near you.
Must be 21 or older to purchase. Slow down. Enjoy your hiatus.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go.
Would you like fries with that?
Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
He's joining us from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel program. Jason Hammer in the studio. Hello.
And congratulations to you guys. Another #1 rating in the midday spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Good job, everybody.
We have the best listeners.
Nobody listens, but we're #1.
Yeah.
Real contrast there.
Again, the audience of IBC, you guys are rock stars.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit warmer out today. Drove in downtown. Wasn't brutal outside like it was yesterday. That's how cold it's been, though. It's like, 25 or something right now, and it feels tropical outside.
Right.
We were talking about the cold yesterday and how ridiculous it's been, and we decided we need to have somebody come on to talk about what we've seen here in Central Indy. And I feel like the CEO of the city would be the mayor, Joe Hogsett.
Sure.
So he's got an open invite to come on the show.
Oh, sure.
He usually does not, but I feel like we have the next best thing.
Yeah.
This was from yesterday's program, talking about the brutal cold temperatures in Indianapolis. Joe Hogsett.
Sweet Jesus, it is cold outside. It's so cold that I told the female staffers in my office to actually put their shirts and pants back on. The good news about sub-zero wind chill is that all of the news outlets are focusing on that and not the sexual harassment that is allegedly being investigated in my office. Look, if Thomas Carl Cook and I are wrong to ask interns and staffers to let us drink tequila from their cleavage, if that's wrong, we don't want to be right. By the way, congrats to Hammer and Nigel on their new tequila by Hiatus.
Thank you.
It's really good. I purchased 3 bottles of it and drank it all yesterday before noon. Look, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Hear, hear.
Well, I have to go. I'm on my way to let everyone know how my office is going to cook the books and change how we report homicide numbers so I don't look as incompetent when it comes to public safety. Changing the way we report is so much easier than actually locking up violent repeat felons and lowering the numbers. You have to remember one thing. Felons love me and their families vote for me. Keep drinking, boys. AI Hogset. Out.
And by the way, that is a thing that's happening now. Multiple law enforcement folks have told me Boss Hogset's trying to get the way we report the homicide numbers to be different, so it looks like we're making progress.
You know, I'm kind of envious of you because your archenemy remains. You still have Boss Hogset. Mine is gone. Holcomb's out.
Yes. You still have the Duke of Spendingburg.
That's true. I still have Spendingburg, and he'll do infinite amounts of stupid things over the next 4 years.
Like when they make a series of Batman movies, he can't fight the Joker all the time.
That's right. That's great.
Sometimes you got to get the Penguin in there or the Riddler. And, like, I get it. Holcomb was the Joker, but I feel like the Duke of Spendingburg is the Penguin.
That's right. Yeah, strong.
It's interesting that AI Hogset mentioned the female staffers. I was texting Rob last night. One of my daughter's old high school friends now works in Hogset's office. And I thought, you know what? I should invite her in, you know, as she knows me as mom who invited her over to make Christmas cookies, right?
See if she wears that tank top that he bought her for Christmas.
And then when she's here, it would be really evil of me to be, you know, where was Hogset during the riots?
Okay, so during the break, you just casually brought up you almost got beat up by Joan Jett one time.
Yeah.
How does this happen? Because we got to talking about this concert that's coming in the summer. Billy Idol and Joan Jett. Joan Jett's the opening act.
At Ruoff.
Yeah, I've told my Billy Idol story before, but you almost got beat up by Joan Jett?
Yeah, because, you know, you don't mess with Joan Jett. Let me tell you that. I had to do a stage announcement. She was performing in concert in South Bend, and I did the whole thing. You guys ready? And the crowd pumped up, and yeah, woo! And I said, here we go. Welcome to the stage, Joan Jett. And she walked out, and as she passed me, she said, you forgot the black hearts. Get out there and do it again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so you know what I did? Turned my ass around and did it again.
Wow. Power move.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you do it again? How do you explain that you're back out there?
Just did it again.
Did you say she screamed at me and I'm back out here?
No, I just walked back out and I said, no, for real, you guys ready? Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Wow.
Yeah.
The fact that you did it reminded me of when Donald Trump told Chris Christie at that dinner, you can get whatever you want, but you're going to have the meatloaf.
Yeah. Well, you know, she's a petite woman, but when that attitude is going, man, woo.
Oh, yeah.
The
She's
look
like a
in her
spider
eyes,
monkey. I wouldn't want to fight
yeah.
Joan
Why
Jett.
did you?
Her looks have tones.
But why did you let her boss you around like that? You don't work for her.
Well, I mean, I was afraid, Rob. I was afraid.
Should be like, oh, somebody's got a bad reputation. Huh?
Yeah,
Huh?
hey,
Elbow her,
hey,
walk
hey.
off the stage.
Yeah.
Boy, I can't believe you just let some celebrity power trip you like that.
She did power trip me
that's
big
amazing.
time.
Wow.
She was, I mean, she's mean looking. And
This
the
says a lot about her,
leather
though,
and,
right?
and the black eyeliner and the dark hair. I mean, she was ready to go to fisticuffs.
Should have went back on stage. Here they are with the Blackhearts, Pat Benatar.
Oh, no. She would have bounced me right out.
Dude, there would have been a scrap on that stage at that point.
Yeah.
She opened for someone. I was at Boston several years ago. I saw her, and she's got quite
She was on that stadium tour like last year or year before with like Def Leppard and Motley Crue. And
It's always the opening act.
Few years of age now, I think I could take her this time around.
Yeah, I can't believe you let her do
right,
that to you.
because you're a pretty intimidating chick, and man, you just cowered to Joan Jett.
What are you doing this afternoon?
We are going to have a pie eating contest because it's National Pie Day.
Nice.
We are also going to have you, Rob Kendall, come in and go off the rails.
That's right.
We're going to have a lot of fun.
Thanks, Hammer. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hi, I'm Charlie Comer from Comer & Cross Premium Garage Floor Coatings. If your garage floor looks bad with stains, cracks, and pits, it makes your entire garage look bad. And a bad epoxy job or chipping paint makes your garage or basement look worse. With one quick call to 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, I can save you $1,000 on a new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor during our winter sale. A Comer & Cross concrete floor coating is the gold standard. Guaranteed. A Comer & Cross garage floor won't chip, crack, or show tire lift like epoxy or paint ever. What's the Comer & Cross difference? We make it so easy. We move your stuff out for you. We fix the cracks and pits perfectly. And one day, you will love your gleaming, new Comer & Cross garage floor or basement floor just in time for spring. Call us right now for $1,000 in savings during our winter sale. Operators are standing by now at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR. Or go to COMERcross.com.
Is credit card debt ruining your life? Did you know you have a right to settle that debt for much less than you owe? DebtBlue has helped people just like you resolve millions of dollars of high-interest credit card debt. They can help with payment relief, the burden of rising inflation, and have a large portion of your debt wiped clean. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, a free 10-minute phone call could save you thousands. Discover how to reduce or completely resolve your credit card debt. In fact, we are so sure that we can reduce your debt that we offer the DebtBlue Success Guarantee. We don't get paid unless your debt gets reduced or resolved, so there is absolutely no risk to call. For your free debt resolution plan, call 800-908-6355. That's 800-908-6355. The call is free. The consultation is free. The more you owe, the more you can save. Call now. 800-908-6355. That's 800-908-6355.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max, used for adults only.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. If you want that New Year's resolution to work, you have to get a great night's sleep. And now through Monday, it's our New Year's mattress sale. Every Tempur-Pedic, every Nectar, and every Stearns & Foster mattress, we guarantee you the lowest price, up to 4 years interest-free financing, and free delivery. The mattress sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
My quality of life is so different, but one of the first things that I noticed was my breathing. I don't ever remember being able to breathe like that.
B is offering one bath remodel for as low as $99 a month, or get 2 bath remodels for as low as $249 a month. Call now to schedule that free in-home design consultation.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the temperatures are a bit warmer, but still cold enough for some snow throughout the area. Plus, Governor Braun talks more about his Medicaid plans and where a high school is in some trouble with the law. So much so, they're on the receiving end of a lawsuit. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
President Trump is about to address world leaders. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and he'll do it virtually while they're gathered at a World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, the day after the president warned he could hit Russia with sanctions and tariffs if it doesn't work out a deal to end the war in Ukraine. Now, NATO's leader is also there, concerned about the alliance in Ukraine.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte says members need to spend more money now to shore up their defence.
much more than the previous target of 2% of GDP. He fears the frontline battle in Ukraine is going in the wrong direction, but warns any deal to end the war cannot be favorable to Russia.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Trump's ordering another 1,500 U.S. troops to the southern border as federal agents conduct raids in some cities, starting to carry out his plans for mass deportations after record illegal immigration. The president tells Fox's Hannity.
This was a gross miscarriage of common sense to allow people to come in.
Later today, a legal challenge goes to court in Seattle to block a Trump order that aims to undo something in the Constitution.
At least 22 states are suing following President Trump's executive order revoking birthright citizenship. One of those states, Washington State. As I mentioned, that hearing in Seattle, the state is asking for a temporary restraining order to stop the executive order from being put in place. But ultimately, no question, this is a long game. Changing the Constitution is not an easy feat.
Fox's David Spunt. A 10,000-acre wildfire that grew fast yesterday north of Los Angeles appears to be only burning in non-residential areas. But Fox's Jonathan Hunt reports from Castaic.
Just in the last 15 minutes or so, the winds have really picked up here once again. So while firefighters do have the upper hand this morning, they are not letting down their guard.
We found out the movies nominated for Oscars this morning. Emilia Perez leads the way with 13, including Best Picture. They'll hand out the Academy Awards March 2nd. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Finally, some relief. Spotty snow on radar, 27 degrees downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. You probably noticed the milder temps and calmer winds today. Ryan Hedrick explains.
But colder weather is on the way tonight, says Chad Swain, a forecaster at the National Weather Service, Indianapolis.
A low temperature tonight will be in the single digits once again, above zero. The winds are going to diminish quickly tonight, so wind chill won't be much of a factor.
Swain says Indiana's been stuck in unseasonably cold weather due to a large air mass that's been hanging over the state for a few days. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Governor Mike Braun is adding some clarity to his order for Medicaid providers to stop advertising on TV and radio. Braun says Medicaid needs an overhaul, and in signing several executive orders on Wednesday, he says limiting the addition of more people to Medicaid is a good place to start.
If that program wants to stay in place, for those that can't afford health care, we're going to have to do a better job at running it as opposed to inviting more people to come onto it.
His office also said this does not describe a reduction in the number of people currently on Medicaid. Adult charges for a teenager in Muncie. Cameron Drummer is accused of sexually assaulting a woman in October, stealing her car, and then crashing that car into another one, and a woman in the car that he hit was killed. So he's charged both with rape and reckless homicide. Nearly 40 female students at Bishop Luers High School in Fort Wayne have had inappropriate videos or photos of themselves sold by male students since 2022. Greg Laker is an attorney who is now suing the school.
Probably half of them aren't even aware that they were the subject of videos that were being distributed and sold by students at Bishop Luers.
Among the accusations are gross negligence, civil liability, and fraudulent concealment. The Indiana Pacers take on the San Antonio Spurs today in Paris, France. Indiana looking for another win. They've won 8 of the last 10 games. They face the Spurs again on Saturday as well. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Recent talk about rising interest rates and economic uncertainty may have you wondering if now is the right time to sell your home. Will I get the price I need? Will it take too long? The good news, you don't have to figure this out by yourself. There's a friendly, no-pressure, experienced agent who eats and sleeps Indianapolis real estate. Call Mark Dietl. Maybe you want guaranteed, no-hassle sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Katie and Chris in Perry Township had to say about working with Mark Dietl. Sadly, our marriage was ending, and we were both ready to sell the home and move forward ASAP. Mark Dietl made it happen fast and easy. Our home sold for more than we anticipated in 24 hours with 17 showings and multiple offers. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, January 23rd. It is 5 minutes after 11. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Let's talk about what Donald Trump is doing at the southern border. He just signed executive orders, and he, designated that drug cartels are known now as foreign terrorist organizations, but he has also instructed 1,500 U.S. troops to be deployed down there, and he says that they are to deport migrants immediately without allowing them to request asylum or legal protection. He invoked 212F. It's an immigration law.
212F, Casey.
212F,
Yeah,
yes.
we all remember 212F.
Right. That's an immigration law, and it grants presidential powers to block entry of migrants deemed to be part of an invasion or posing public health, national security risks.
So I saw some staggering statistic, and it was on the internet, so it had to be true. The final couple days of Biden's presidency, there was something like 12,000 illegal immigrants detained at the border. Detained, like not the ones that got away, but detained.
Yeah.
In Trump's first 2 days, it was 766. So you're already seeing that. I mean, people, the memo is clear. You can hike all this way if you want, but you ain't getting in this country anymore.
Yeah.
So clearly, even just the idea of Trump being in there is having an impact on what's going on at the southern border.
They've already canceled the CBP One app. Remember that?
Yes.
That's the app that the migrants were using. Sign up to.
It was set up by the Biden administration.
Correct.
And this was an app, and it would tell you like where to be.
They could request appointments.
When to be
for
there.
entry. Right. It's already been shut down. They did that right away. But the White House press secretary, we had a conversation about her yesterday, Caroline Leavitt. She confirms that the troops are already deployed at the southern border, and they're already reinforcing that border.
What is he doing this afternoon? I believe it was Reuters who broke the news that President Trump signed an executive order of 1,500 additional troops to the United States southern border. This comes off of his day one action, as I just talked about on Fox News, to direct the Department of Defense to make Homeland Security a core mission of the agency. This is something President Trump campaigned on. The American people have been waiting for such a time as this, for our Department of Defense to actually take Homeland Security seriously. This is a number one priority of the American people, and the president is already doing it. But can you what will
So he's already doing what he said he was going to do.
Well, right. And in terms of the border, he's got to deliver on that. And I think he recognizes, and this is a good position for Trump to be in, that his number one issue is probably his strongest issue, and that is immigration in this country. Both legal and illegal, and obviously they're tackling the illegal side of it first. And so good on him. He has no reason not to deliver on it. It's easy to show tangible results. Just talking differently will deliver tangible results. You're seeing that, and it sounds like they're backing it up with resources in the early days of his administration.
But it also shows you that if Trump is invoking 212F, that Biden could have done it all along, and he chose not to.
Biden undid a whole bunch of things that Trump did that were working. Look, the Democrat Party, Joe Biden, were wholly invested in mass, large-scale illegal immigration because they believe that it would produce a generation of reliably Democrat voters. And so thus you saw they had no interest in actually securing the southern border, and they were very successful at not doing that.
So another thing that he did is he designated drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and they can now be targeted with lethal force by the U.S. military.
This is actually an executive order designating the cartels and other organizations to be foreign terrorist organizations.
It's a big one.
Yes, sir.
People have wanted to do this for years. So they are now designated as terrorist organizations, foreign. And Mexico probably doesn't want that. But we have to do what's right. They're killing our people. They're killing 250, 300,000 American people a year. Not 100, like has been reported for 15 years. It's probably 300,000.
So some people are questioning, though, that going after these cartels is also going to take the participation of the Mexican government as well.
Can I just say, my favorite thing, Trump. Trump is the most entertaining person alive, and there's no doubt I think he doesn't know exactly what he's doing. So he does two things there that are, from an entertainment standpoint, they're brilliant. One, and Kev's laughing because he totally knows what I'm about to say. One, the first thing he does is he'll have these bills presented to him, which he's clearly directed his staff to do, and he acts totally surprised.
What?
It's like he's scratching a lottery ticket. Which bill is this? Oh, that's so interesting. And then he's out loud, like, making the case to himself about why he has to do this. He's having some sort of conversation with himself. Yes, we've got to do it because it's 300,000 people, not 100 like they've been saying. It's 300. We got to do this. Like, he's having this conversation,
selling it to himself. Yeah. Well, Tom Homan has.
And so there's some doubt he was going to sign the thing.
Well, he knew all along he was going to sign it. Sure. Tom Homan has announced that ICE has already arrested 308 violent criminal illegals, and he says that he's going to target the worst first.
What would a person have to do to get a visit from ICE?
For it to be in the country illegally, first of all, I mean, there's nothing in the immigration law that says you got to be convicted of a serious crime to be removed under the INA. So if you're in the country illegally, ICE can visit you. But right now, as we said repeatedly, and the President Trump's been clear, we're concentrating on the worst first, the public safety threats and national security threats. And just yesterday, in the last 24 hours, ICE arrested over 308 serious criminals. Some of them were murderers, some of them were rapists, some of them raped a child, some were sexual assault of a child. So ICE is doing their job, and they're prioritizing just as the president said they would. So the ICE is performing excellent right now out in the field, and they're going to continue every day.
I had this conversation last night. ICE has one of the coolest acronyms available.
It worked out perfectly, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It just sounds tough.
Again, it is, and you're a parent, so you know this, right? That your daughter's very well behaved, and that's because she no doubt had strong parenting. The threat of action is actually more important than the action itself oftentimes. Like, if you raise your kid right, look at how good Kevin turned out. He went to a nice private school. His parents were strict disciplinarians, and it's the threat of action itself is oftentimes more important than ever having to take the action. And I think with Trump, you're seeing this, that the people know, the illegal immigrants know he's not screwing around. It's not dewdrop in policy anymore. And if you're going to try to come here, there's going to be consequences for the action. So if you want to waste the trip, I guess go ahead and try, but you're just wasting the time.
Well, that reporter was like, well, what do they have to do? And he was like, well, if you're already here illegally, that's enough.
Right.
You don't have to commit some crime. You're already committing a crime.
Trump said this in, I think it was one of the first presidential debates when he was running in 2015. And it's always stuck with me, and he's absolutely correct in this. Either we have a country or we don't. And if you have a country, which most people I think would want to say we have a country, then you have to have borders. And if you have to have borders, then you have to have rules as it relates to those borders. Like, it was so controversial when he was like, if you're here illegally, you got to go back where you came from. Well, what about the people that just are here? No. Either you have a country or you don't. And if you have a country, you have borders. And if you have borders, then you have rules about crossing those borders. And if you let any part of this slide, then people are just going to keep abusing the system. It's not like it's not that controversial of a statement. Now, there are some people openly, the Democrats, who are like, no, we don't need a country, we don't need borders, and being American doesn't mean anything, and so they don't care about that. But I think the majority of people still believe in the idea of having a country.
I know that we want to talk about how much money the townships have, but before we get to that, the content of the letter that Joe Biden wrote to Donald Trump was released.
No way he wrote that letter himself, right?
You don't think so?
Or maybe it was one of those things where, like, somebody wrote the letter and then do we think Joe Biden could construct a letter?
Well, the way Peter Doocy describes it here is he said that he had a hard time legibly reading it. The scribble.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think Joe Biden could construct Like if we gave Joe Biden a piece of paper right now, I mean, remember in elementary school, like sentence construction, and then you had to write this properly constructed sentence. How many consecutive properly constructed sentences do we think Joe Biden could put together?
So you're saying somebody else wrote it and they just made him script it out?
No doubt.
Okay. I thought you were questioning whether it was actually his handwriting.
No. I'm saying like how many properly? He can't even speak a properly constructed sentence, much less write one.
Well, Donald Trump said it's a beautiful, beautiful note, and you're right. He probably didn't write it himself.
Kaylee, we saw the other night on Monday, just a few minutes after President Trump returned to the Oval Office, I asked him if the president left him a letter. He hadn't checked yet. He opened up the drawer. We were only able to see the outside of the envelope that said 47. We can report now, for the first time anywhere in the world, this history-making text of what it said on the inside. The letterhead was of Joseph R. Biden Jr. It said, President of the United States. And his cursive handwriting that I reviewed was difficult to read at times, but this is what I got from the letter. Let's read it together. Dear President Trump, as I take leave of this sacred office, I wish you and your family all the best in the next 4 years. The American people and people around the world look to this house for steadiness in the inevitable storms of history. And my prayer is that in the coming years will be a time of prosperity, peace, and grace for our nation. May God bless you and guide you as he has blessed and guided our beloved country since our founding. Joe Biden, 1/20/25. And that is it.
No way. No way Joe Biden wrote that
He
on his
didn't
own.
write it.
There's no way. Here's what it would have sounded like.
The other side of the letter was like his to-do list. Pardon Hunter, pardon Fauci.
Here's how the letter would have gone if Joe Biden had written it himself, okay? Are we ready?
Yeah.
Dear Baloney.
I got hairy legs.
Whatever you're doing next, eat it. Look, fat.
Right.
Here's the deal. Mumbles, whatever my name is.
What did he always used to say? Full stop.
All right, Casey.
Yeah.
When we come back, the author of Senate Bill 1 had a meeting with the old people yesterday, some AARP town hall, something or other.
Yeah.
And I think, as usual, we gotta educate the lawmakers on exactly how much money these greedy little bastards in local government are sitting on, because author of Senate Bill 1 is very concerned about what's going to happen if his own bill passes, which is exactly what we said was going to happen. I know these people better than they know themselves. They're already getting squirrely on Senate Bill 1, so we got to educate some people on just how much money these local government people are sitting on. Not using, sitting on.
Okay, we'll get to that next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
The commander-in-chief no longer needs a diaper change. The commander-in-chief doesn't have to watch Matlock with pudding smeared on his face. We've got a commander-in-chief that no longer falls up and down the stairs multiple times. I'm excited for that. If anything else.
Let's see how long it takes before Pencil Neck Adam Schiff to file some impeachment charge.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Attention Indiana residents in need of care at home. If you have Medicaid and need assistance with daily activities, you can receive in-home care from a loved one that lives with you and they get paid. Through Medicaid with no cost to you, Freedom Care, a leading in-home provider, gives you the power to choose who provides your care, and they get paid instantly. Imagine your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need, and your caregiver gets paid instantly. Freedom Care has over 5,000 five-star Google reviews and is a leading choice in Indiana for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want great care from a loved one that's free to you through Medicaid, go to freedomcare.com or call 463-232-7324. 463-232-7324. That's 463-232-7324.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Consult a doctor prior to use.
Wow, you look amazing. What have you been doing?
I'm sure you've heard of Ozempic, Wegovy, and the other GLP-1 medications, right? Well, I found this great company called Zelfie. If you qualify, their providers can prescribe medications like Ozempic and Wegovy and other GLP-1 medications that are 80 to 90% less expensive, all 100% online.
I can get GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% less and do it all online? No doctor's office or pharmacy?
Yes, Zelfie can provide semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and other expensive GLP-1s, but for 80 to 90% less and shipped directly to your door.
How do I get started with Zelfie?
Just send them a text.
Text CARE to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie. Get the same active ingredients in Wegovy or Ozempic, but for 80 to 90% less and 100% online. Don't wait. Text CARE to 200-300 right now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text CARE to 200-300. That's CARE to 200-300. CARE to 200-300.
Book your custom patio project before March 1st and save up to $2,500. Indie Decorative Concrete, the patio experts. Big enough to service, small enough to care.
I knew it. I told you it was going to happen. And we can't let him get away with it. It's like a Scooby-Doo episode, Case.
Yeah. So Senator Travis Holdman expressed concern over his own Senate Bill 1.
Do I know these people? Can I read these people? I mean, look, it is 11:21, the 23rd of January, 2025, and at least we made it into the third hour.
Right.
Before I have to do this is why I said let's put this segment off because it's my least favorite part of every show.
Right, when you have to come on the air and say that you were right.
And I have been look, we talked about the process of the property tax reform. We've been talking about this for a year now, and I said this is going to be a battle from the start to the finish, and the war is not over until every I is dotted and every T is crossed and every bill is signed. And we said you're going to have to remain engaged throughout the entire process because these lawmakers are going to look for an exit ramp from start to finish because they don't want to deal with this, because they don't want to have to deal with the angry red-shirted teachers and these township trustees and these goofball local mayors who view your home as a personal piggy bank. This is the ultimate us versus them. You have almost no friends in the State House, and you are going to have to steamroll these people into compliance because they do not want to help you.
So AARP recently did a study in Indiana, and they said 84% of Indiana homeowners have seen property tax increases in the past 3 years.
It was
84%.
And you have seen it was like 17.1%. Now, this is across the state. Keep in mind, in our listening area, you're talking about a much larger increase because these rural areas have not seen near the spike that we have seen here in central Indiana. But statewide, it was 17.1%, 6.6%, and now they're estimating statewide 7% increase coming up again this next year. This is what's infuriating about the lawmakers sitting there with their thumbs up their backside on this, is they're acknowledging the problem. It's not like there's a dispute on the problem. They're acknowledging that the problem actually exists. They don't want to address the issue because they're petrified of taking on these local government people. This is what's infuriating. And we told you from the beginning, we said these local guys these lawmakers do not want to take on this issue because of these local guys. So Travis Holdman, who has Senate Bill 1, and this is how ridiculous this is. Now he's like questioning his own bill. Like he supposedly wrote the bill, right? You put this out there as the legislation, which is fine. It's a good piece of legislation. And then you're like, well, I've got concerns about the thing that can you imagine going into a sales presentation? Like you've got some big client, you got this thing you're trying to sell them, and then you do the presentation, and then they start asking you questions, and you're like, yeah, I'm not really sold on this presentation, but please go ahead and buy my product, right?
Just do it anyway.
So he says, this is great. He goes, and this is the game that these lawmakers, I don't believe they're actually this stupid that they just fall for it. I think that in their quest to find an exit ramp, they throw these things out there because they secretly want it to fail. I think these lawmakers deep down want this thing to fail so they can go, well, see, we tried.
Yeah.
And I've been talking about this for a month now. if they wanted it to pass, they'd have a strategy for support. We've been asking for a month and a half on this show now. Tell us what the plan is, and we will get people there in droves for you at the State House in support of your bill. But you have to tell us when the things are. You want to do a rally? We'll help you do it. You want 1,000 people there? We'll help you do it. They've said nothing to us. We've asked repeatedly on this.
Is it in committee right now, or are they?
We don't know.
Are they taking testimony?
We don't know.
Are we debating this?
I have no idea, Casey. I've asked a million times, and I've asked a bunch of different people, and no one will tell me what it is, which tells me, like, take, for example, the abortion bill. Here's when it is. Here's where you show up. Here's where you talk. People knew well in advance. Get a line of people.
Yeah.
The constitutional carry thing. Here's where it is. Here's when it is. You show up. People talk. That's how it works if you want something to pass. They have done none of that with this, which means, to me, they don't really care whether it passes or not. They just want to lie to you and tell you, well, we put it out there, and it didn't have the support. We just didn't get the people there like we thought it was. This is not the support that the radio guys are saying. Even though Braun has said, everywhere he went, it's the number one thing you heard about. So Travis Holdman, who's the author of this bill, says, quote, this is an AARP forum on property taxes, right? We'll get something that we think people will be happy with, but at the same time, we can't hamper the revenue stream going to local government. Full stop. Yes, you can, and the goal of this should be to hamper the stream of revenue to local government because they've got way more money than they need.
Yeah.
If your goal is some sort of balancing act where the same amount of revenue goes to local government, then this thing will fail. If your goal is not to choke off revenue going to these piggies in the local government, then there's no way this thing, you can't just take more from one person. So I have a friend who is a township trustee. I will not disclose who this person is because they will be just ridiculed with hate mail that they are on the regular providing me information. And I'm not going to tell you who this person is, but they are totally in support of property tax reform and would love, I think, to see their position just go away because they know what township government is. But this person sent me the data on how much money township governments are sitting on. Now, by sitting on, I'm talking about in reserves that they're not spending. It's sitting in a bank account collecting interest. They're not using it for services. They're not using it for anything. It's just money, more money they've collected, which is excessive taxation. Would you like to guess, Casey? Kev, you can get in on this. Price is Right rules. Casey, would you like to take a guess on how much money, just townships, I'm not talking schools, I'm not talking cities, I'm not talking towns, just the township governments, how much money they're sitting on in their reserves right now?
I'm confused by this question, Rob, because I'm going to have to say zero because I'm told without property taxes, they have no money.
Okay, you've gone with zero.
So I'm going to go $1. $1.
Kev, would you like to take a guess on how much money just township governments in the state of Indiana are sitting on in their reserves?
$10.
Kev's in at $10. Well, Kev, you win, but you're $774 million off because that's how much money township governments are sitting on in the state of Indiana.
$774 million?
So then this Einstein Travis Holdman goes on to say, so I'll read the full quote here so people don't think I'm making it up. We'll get something that we think people will be happy with, but at the same time, we can't hamper the revenue stream going to local government because it's going to affect the police departments and fire departments and local services that are provided by counties and cities and towns. Bull! The townships are sitting on $774 million in excessive taxation. The city of Carmel, the Carmel school system just spent $55 million on a swimming pool. Westfield is proposing a 10,000 person open seat stadium. The Westfield schools have a $12 million tennis courts. The city of Noblesville has a $36 million stadium for the Pacers G League team. I am so disappointed, Casey, that Travis Holdman would have the audacity. He knows better than anybody what's going on here. He knows better than anybody what's going on here, and he has the audacity to say, I'm very concerned that the police and the fire and the sheriff's department, people might not show up to your house if you call 911. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Now, did he say he was concerned about the whole bill or just the first year of the bill? Doesn't matter.
I read you the quote. We'll get something that we think people will be happy with, but at the same time, we can't hamper the revenue stream going to local government because it's going to affect the police departments and fire departments and local services that are provided by county, cities, and towns. No. What will happen if you fix this is the city of Noblesville might not be able to construct another $36 million arena for a G League team. The Carmel schools might not be able to do a $55 million swimming pool complex. That is disgusting that he reverts to. He knows that this excess is out there. He knows this abuse of government funds is out there. And he has the audacity.
The guy who wrote the bill.
To say, the police might not show up to your house if we don't have a balancing act. Compromise, Casey, is about both sides getting what they want. The taxpayer has already compromised. We've paid the excess. And look at what it's going to. It's not going to police. It's not like Carmel put 50 new police officers on the street. The school system spent it on a swimming pool. It's not like Westfield is putting 30 new firemen in the firehouses. They are spending it, the school's spending it on tennis courts, and the city wants to spend it on a 10,000-person open seat arena, probably for a soccer team. Just unbelievable. And it proves everything I've been saying from the beginning, which is these guys are doing this kicking and screaming. They don't want it to actually pass, and you are going to have to overwhelm them with every hate and fury in your soul to show them how pissed off at them you are when this bill finally gets hearing. Now, they're going to give you as little notice as possible.
Well, that's what I say. We got to find out when that hearing is.
Gross. It's just not surprising, but completely gross and just par for the course for these people at the Indiana General Assembly.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Lots of voting today. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Voting on cabinet nominations. Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
Former Georgia Congressman Doug Collins advancing through the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee on a bipartisan basis, with only one Democrat voting no. Collins now awaits a floor vote to officially become the next Veterans Affairs Secretary. Meanwhile, Department of Interior Secretary nominee Doug Burgum and Environmental Protection Agency nominee Lee Zeldin both advanced out of their respective committees. On Capitol Hill, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
CNN is laying off just over 200 workers. CEO Mark Thompson made the announcement in a memo to staff. The company plans to invest $70 million in new digital plans, saying that it doesn't expect total headcount to fall too much. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Has the holiday season left you overwhelmed, stressed out, and overweight? Do you feel frustrated when you think about what you need to do to be healthy and feel better? You deserve a simple approach to a stronger, healthier, and more enjoyable life. Exercise Inc. has been helping people in Central Indiana reach their health and fitness goals for 20 years. The approach is simple. Strength train with a certified coach once a week for 20 minutes. Adopt the 9 simple habits you need to follow to change your health and lose weight. Then get out there and enjoy life, because you'll be stronger and have more energy, and you're going to feel better, and you'll lose weight, and you'll probably even look better too. And you may even be able to get off of some of those prescription medications. Exercise Inc., Avon, Brownsburg, Greenwood, Zionsville, and now in Fishers. The studios are private, no mirrors, no music, and no spandex. Just you and a professional coach working to reach your goals for the new year. Go to exerciseinc.com today to sign up for a free consultation.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church, and at Life Church, all 4 of their Central Indiana locations, they're wrapping up their 21 days of prayer. And what that means is every weeknight, 6:30 p.m., you can go and someone will pray for you or pray for someone you love and care about. It's that simple. No strings attached. Life Church does the 21 days of prayer because prayer is powerful and prayer works. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Life Church makes it super simple for you with campuses in Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. They've also got awesome online services. Learn more about everything online at lifechurchin.com.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Howard Bailey Financial is now in Carmel on Rangeline Road. For over 20 years, we've helped people navigate their retirement journeys, and now we're bringing our experience closer to home. Visit retirecarmel.com to schedule your appointment or text Carmel to 888-262-1104 to download a free retirement resource. Together, let's build the retirement you deserve. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
Coming home to a cold house in the dead of winter isn't just inconvenient, it's expensive. For over 60 years, thousands of Hoosiers have trusted B&W to catch their problems early and keep their families warm and safe. Call 317-214-0108 or go to bplusw.com for fast, reliable service today.
That's 317-214-0108. B&W, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
Blood, sweat, tears. At Bill Estes, we know it takes hard work and years of doing the right thing to build a business people can depend on. That's why we don't make empty promises and expect your trust. Estes earns it. From Ford F-150s and Toyota Tacomas to Ram 1500s and Chevy Silverados, we have the trucks you'll love at prices you can believe in. But don't just take our word for it. Your trust means something. Estes earns it. BillEstes.com.
In sports, only one team walks away with the W.
Only one team gets the trophy.
And only one player is named MVP.
But that doesn't mean everyone else who competed leaves empty-handed. I'm Allie Ward from Boonville High School.
And I'm Caleb Ferguson from Columbus North High School. In education-based athletics, no matter who comes out on top, every student-athlete walks away having grown as a person.
Every team walks away learning invaluable life lessons.
From responsibility to collaboration to integrity.
We're thankful to have coaches and mentors who always prioritize learning and growing over winning at all costs.
They're helping us build a mentality of development that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty. Be a champion of high school sports and the growth mindset they develop by buying a ticket to your high school's athletic events. This is keeping education in front of athletics. This is the second classroom. This is your IHSAA.
B is offering one bath remodel for as low as $99 a month or get two bath remodels for as low as $249 a month. Call now to schedule that free in-home design consultation.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
The S&P 500 hit 6,100. New record. Fueled by a lot of optimism. Having an issue.
You're so excited you can't even say it.
I know.
So excited about the stock market you can't even say it.
Yeah. You know what's surprising about it is that Netflix shares surged to over 10%, and they just announced that they're raising their rates.
Okay.
So here we go again.
Well, so let's walk through this for a second, because the Netflix thing amazes me, and you and I had this conversation at the time. So this is, I think, built on Netflix is getting into the live event business.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the wrestling now, Monday Night Raw. They've dabbled now with the NFL. But their marquee thing was that Tyson fight, and it was a train wreck.
Yeah.
And yet, we were talking at the time, I said, okay, that's going to be horrible publicity for Netflix. No doubt their stock is going to suffer because of that. They couldn't pull off the event. And yet, it's gone up, and their rates are going up. So in a weird way, I guess now the failure doesn't even matter. It's just the attempt that means more than anything.
Well, it's almost like they're trying to turn it into, like, something exclusive.
But it didn't work. Like, if you had bought the fight for Netflix, or if you'd bought Netflix for the fight, why would you stay with that service? It failed. It was a colossal failure. Most people didn't even get to see the whole thing, and yet they were rewarded. I mean, I'm thinking, did you know we're number one? The new ratings are out. Number one again.
Yeah.
It'd be like, what if we were number 10? Would our boss, David Wood, just be like, hey, it's cool. I'll see you Monday. It's great.
No,
they'd be like, what is going on here?
We'd be having meetings.
We would be punished in some capacity. But here it's with Netflix, it's like, well, you got,
We were awful at this thing, but guess what? We're going to charge you more now.
Yeah, no, apparently people are going to pay it.
Yeah. Were you surprised how well the stock market's doing? Jamie Dimon issued warning about it.
And this is, I by no means have the financial skill set or know-how of the guy that runs Chase, but he's saying the thing that I've been saying for a long time, which is none of the stuff makes sense on the stock market because it's all based on printed money. Now, he's not saying this exactly like this, but my theory has been the money had to go somewhere. All that money that's been printed has to go somewhere. And the smart financial people are like, interest rates are what they are. They're okay if you're a regular person, but if you're some large institution or some very wealthy person, you've got to try to beat inflation. That's your goal, right? Your goal with your investment is to beat inflation to make money. Well, it all kind of got pumped into the stock market, which inflates the value of all the prices of these companies.
He's a fan of the tariffs. He said that they're an economic tool or a weapon, depending on how they're used. And he said he believes that the tariffs, they're meant to bring countries to the table for better trade deals, and they could possibly work. And it's especially beneficial to the country if it's used for national security as well.
Well, and we've discussed this many times. The problem with politicians is one of many is
we don't have that much time.
No one's ever willing to have an honest conversation because they don't want the pain to be under their watch. They know in many cases what need to be done, but because we for so long just handed stuff out like candy in order to secure votes, benefits, etc., that they don't want to have the honest conversation, which is we're going to need to feel pain to get everything back where it needs to be. You're going to have to now. How intense you want the pain to be decides how fast the solution's going to be, and but we're not even talking about a prolonged solution. And the reality is, unless you get spending under control, unless you get government handouts under control, unless you get government involvement under control, then long term this is never going to be a solution's never going to exist. And these politicians just are not. Whether it's, Social Security, Medicare, whether it's inflation, any of this stuff, willing to do the things necessary to get back to where we need to be.
Jamie Dimon and Elon Musk, they've had a rocky relationship in the past, but according to Jamie Dimon, they hugged it out. And they've reconciled, they're having positive conversations. And Jamie Dimon described Musk as our Einstein. And he wants to support him and all of his companies. And, the thing that gets me is everybody's saying, well, Trump is just making his billionaire friend Elon Musk happy. But then he turned around and got rid of the EV mandate, which doesn't help Elon Musk.
Yeah, although I think it does. And here's why. Because the people here's why. The people who are buying, first of all, the subsidy brings more people into the equation. Tesla is not a more people into the equation type of automobile. It's like a golf course, right? Why do some courses offer, hey, buy 3 rounds, get a 4th round free? Well, your upper echelon golf courses aren't doing that because it's like eating at St. Elmo. The people who eat there don't need the discount, nor do they want it because they want to keep the riffraff out.
They want to make it exclusive.
Tesla is exclusive, right? It's an upper echelon product, and as part of that, they don't want more people in the equation. The more subsidies there are, the more Ford, GM, et cetera, are going to try to make these electric cars, which are going to bring more buyers into the equation. And Tesla wants to keep the market thin and keep an upper echelon of buyer paying a premium price.
That makes sense.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Did you see that Duck Dynasty, the revival, is coming back?
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's going to premiere on A&E this summer after an 8-year hiatus.
Thought we were done with those guys.
Nope. They're back.
How exciting.
It's a reboot.
Great.
It's going to consist of 21-hour episodes.
What are we doing next?
2 seasons.
What are we talking about next?
You know what? We got to talk about the CIA operative who revealed some of the agency secrets.
Oh, that's good stuff.
And we'll see if you're maybe a potential candidate, Rob Kendall.
Exciting.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show 306. We're back on the mic. Nobody has more fun in the afternoon than we do. The biggest stories in Indy. Rob Kendall off the rails. We'll talk this afternoon. 93 WIBC.
Attention.
If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
These cold winter nights mean more than just frosty windows. They can also spell trouble for your roof. Freezing temperatures, ice, and snow can lead to leaks that cause costly water damage if left unchecked. Moss Roofing is here to help. Tony Katz here, and Moss Roofing are the only ones to trust. A family business based right here in central Indiana. Whether it's a free inspection, patching a pesky leak, or a full roof replacement, their expert team has your winter roofing needs covered. Plus, they offer numerous financing options to make it easy on your wallet. Don't wait for that drip to turn into a disaster. Call Moss Roofing today for a roof done right every single time. Talk to Moss Roofing today. 317-747-3665. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-747-3665. Moss Roofing, 747-3665, or find them online at Moss Roofing, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com.
It's the new year. Time to make a positive change in your life.
I went to My Computer Career because I needed job security.
Because I wanted a career in cybersecurity.
I went to My Computer Career because IT jobs are everywhere.
My old job was going nowhere.
I went because I didn't want college loans for the rest of my life.
Because I wanted a career for the rest of my life.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Financial aid available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. 529 college savings plans accepted. Not available in Washington State.
It's Hammer and Nigel from Window Nation. Heating costs are getting out of control, and your best bet is to replace your cold, drafty windows with energy-efficient ones from Window Nation. Act now, and you'll save big with 50% off all window styles, plus you could get zero interest with zero payments for 2 years.
With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, you can trust Window Nation. Hurry, this big sale ends January 31st, so schedule your free in-home consultation right now. 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
That's are us when dreams sunk in. That's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 765-545-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to that'sareus.com. 765-545-BATH.
That's are us when dreams sunk in. That's are us.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's the Degenerates Next Door, a sports betting podcast for dudes.
Real dudes, not the fake Kardashian-looking like dudes you see on television doing this. The Degenerates Next Door. Download and subscribe today anywhere you get your podcast.
Will the streetlights shine down on Blessing Avenue?
Rob, have you thought of a career change lately? Because I have something in mind. Maybe for you, maybe not, depending on how you feel about yourself.
What are you trying to say, Casey?
A former CIA operative has revealed that the agency pursues people with certain mental disorders because they say they make the best agents. This guy, so his name is John. He had a 14-year career as a CIA officer, and he said that the agency actively seeks to hire people who have sociopathic tendencies.
I love this.
However, they do avoid individuals with full-blown disorders. So a little crazy is good. We're going to pass on full-blown issues.
Now, sociopath is where you don't, help me understand this. Sociopath is where you don't feel.
Right. You completely lack empathy. You disregard the feelings of others.
Correct.
And you, in fact, may manipulate or harm people without remorse, often for your own personal gain.
Okay, so this doesn't surprise me at all. Now, I do wonder under the Biden DEI, color of your skin, sex, quota checking, whatever, rather than getting the best people, if that's still a thing. But this doesn't surprise me at all because you think about for the CIA, you're dealing with some really horrific actors potentially, or people who are attempting to be horrific actors. So you would want somebody who understands, one, a little bit maybe about how these people think, and two, not have any remorse in terms of how they're going to deal with them once they're caught.
Right. So this former CIA agent, he said that these people fall into a category because they have to have these tendencies because they have to be happy to break into people's houses and plant bugs or do other nefarious things.
You know, it's really fascinating how people who, the judgment of people who have never been in these professions, right? So you're dealing with some of the worst of the worst of the worst imaginable. And it's really easy to always be on the outside looking in. I always think these do-gooders, well, we should or we shouldn't. How do you think you're actually going to effectively deal with these people? You know, it's like the old Costanza thing. You want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts, right?
Yeah.
You got to have some people that want to get in the confines of the laws and the parameters of the Constitution, et cetera. But you got to have some people that just don't have any remorse in terms of how you're going to take down some really, really bad actors.
Well, it's almost like you need a bad guy to take down the bad guy.
Right.
And now this guy said that he refused to be involved with enhanced interrogation techniques.
Okay.
So that's why he left the CIA. But, you know, if you're into that certain, I don't know, genre and you're not afraid or you don't feel bad that you have to break into someone's private space to take care of the country, then, hey, the CIA may be an opportunity for you.
You know, it's a tough existence, too, because I would think that you would have a very hard time, like a work-life balance would be tough.
Yeah, how do you turn that off?
Right.
And when you're involved in something like that, when you do try to turn it off and you're out in your normal everyday life, aren't you just completely paranoid?
Right.
Because you're entrenched with that all day long, and you can't just flip a switch and not question everyone and everything around you when you're not working.
You know, I do have a little experience with this, Casey.
Yeah.
You know, my old man was a trained investigator, and that's why nothing ever got past him. There was no bull crap ever pulled in my house.
Right. You could not lie to Dad ever.
No, and I think about this, like with him. Now, he was not a CIA agent, but he was a federal law enforcement officer, and he was in charge of really, really, really bad people when they were reentering society. And basically, they gave him these people because no one else could handle them. And so, like, his life, he knew the majority of these people were super bad actors who were, the recidivism rate was highly likely. And his job was, I'm going to catch you because I know you're doing something. Humanity knows you're doing something. And my job is to put you back where you came from because you probably shouldn't have been out to begin with. And I always think about, like, the life that he had to live because that is hard. It is hard that in your day-to-day operation. Like, what do? We come in here and screw around for 4 hours. And then I go home and I take a nap. And then I watch some Unsolved Mystery reruns. And then I watch some Chris Hansen reruns. And then I go pick my kid up from daycare. Like, that's my daily existence. Somebody like my dad, every day, one, he went into a very dangerous environment because he was dealing with very dangerous people at any time could attempt to turn on him. And two, even when they were, air quote, behaving, he knew that the overwhelming majority
if
of them
he wasn't watching, they
were,
would switch back. Exactly. So you're always like on guard, and you have to manipulate people. You have to exploit people to be in that position. And what do you have to do to talk yourself into that? If you don't have sociopathic tendencies and you're just a nice person and you think you're doing it for good of country,
yeah, you can't.
You have to like talk yourself up to do it.
Now you got to. It takes growing up with this, I learned at a very young age, it takes a a special type of person to be able to enter those jobs, to do them well. There's some people who just want the job, but the people who want to do it well, you got to be wired. You got to be wired differently because you're dealing with some of the worst that humanity has to offer, and you've got to always kind of operate from that standpoint of basically like you think these people are doing something, and then maybe you get proven incorrect. But statistically, in this job, like others in law enforcement, a lot of people you encounter are totally no good whatsoever.
I think it's interesting this guy says, but, we want to avoid people who have full-blown disorders. So it's like we're looking for people who have tendencies, who are willing to walk right up to that line and use all of these tools, tradecraft, right? Yeah. But then you can't cross the line.
Yeah.
And, well, then there's somebody telling you exactly where that line is. And that can become a gray area as well. I just thought, well, that was really interesting. And sounds reasonable as well that they would want somebody who's a little crazy.
Well, and you're
not too crazy.
What is it? Your sister-in-law?
Mm-hmm.
Are we allowed to say what she does?
No, we're not allowed to say what she does. But, again, back to being paranoid in real life.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have a little experience with this as well. That, your sister is, her job is not to trust anyone either.
Right, and she doesn't. And again, I can't imagine what it was like growing up in that household. Yeah. That must have been difficult.
Well, this has been a very uplifting segment to end the show, Casey. Thank you for letting our audience go out on a happy note.
Are we out of time?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, all right. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.